last session, because things got so exciting towards the last half hour, and just everyone was talking in every direction, there was a point where I mentioned several times that you were not being escorted by any guards. Jenny didn't hear that. She genuinely thought that you still had guards with you. So the scene that a few of us thought that of Aria running up and screaming at random guards at every street, that was a miscommunication. So because of that, I'm removing that retraction, because it's not fair to punish someone if information is not heard.
It's been redacted.
Exactly, yes. Out of RP, the evidence that has been presented for Aria being a nice person and did not kill 4 people is a very nice letter given by a Stella Bork, who is currently in the cells under the guardhouse, having taken the bail for Aria. That is the only piece of evidence in Aria's favour at the moment. All of the evidence against Aria includes witness statements of the duel, at which Aria was egging on the half-orc and the water genasi and shouting, "Kill each other." The character witnessing statements are from Patricia Schmitty, the wife of the water genasi half of this. Aria's servants, who all said that Aria had been seen up all hours, performing demonic rituals. When questioned, these rituals were to the demon goddess Fianna.
What?
Yep.
Sorry.
She went who knows where at ungodly hours, ate ungodly foods. There is also a scathing and damning, what's the right word? When someone admits to a crime.
Admission?
Yes, a scathing admission. Confession, thank you, Emma. A confession that he was involved in it by I believe it is Rodolfo?
Rodolfo, yes.
The pianist.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well as a large document. This isn't a report saying that Aria did anything. It's more a statement of the good health of one of the victims. Rachel Trainer, niece Salem. So the document was provided by the Salem family, one of which being Inquisitor Salem, who was the one who actually arrested Aria and Muli last session.
Can I clarify, is he saying that she's actually survived, or
No.
that she was
That before
healthy?
she died, she was in good health, of sound mind and body, and that anything that might have happened to her is premeditated and vicious.
Okay.
I just wanted to check with you. You said Patricia Smitty?
Yes.
I think either I muddled it up, but you mentioned the Paula.
Oh, yeah, it's Paula.
Was that the accuser in the staff?
Sorry, Paula Schmitty is the wife of one of the 2 men who died in front of Aria's house.
And who's the Patricia that you've just
Sorry,
mentioned?
it is Paula Schmitty.
Right, okay.
I can't read my own
That's
goddamn
just what I wanted
handwriting.
to check.
Yep. Emma?
I'm pretty sure we gave him shoes.
Yeah,
Last
yes, I do actually have that written down. Something
Does that not count as evidence in her favour?
Yeah, blood on the soles of the shoes, not on top.
Correct.
So she treaded in the blood after the fact. She wasn't there to get splattered.
Yes, thank you. That... Sure. No, I did not write that down. That is my fault.
What was the name of the trainers, sorry again?
It
You've
is...
got James Trainer, the lawyer.
And
Rachel Salem is
That's
linked
it.
to him.
Rachel was his wife.
And they had a boy.
That's right.
Yeah, she's Rachel Trainer Salem. She's from the Salem and the Calistar families, but she was married to James Trainer.
That is correct.
So, all a bit of a web.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, I've gone really in depth. This one's going to take some work from the entire party.
I've got the names of the three victims if people need them.
Johann Smitty, Grelog, Bork, and James Trainer.
That's
Yes.
right, yes.
As well as
Water
Rachel.
Genasi, Half-Orc, and Human.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
The first two were fighting combination of over business and over Aria's.
That is correct. That is the statement that was given.
Just pretty quickly, so which one was the orc? So
That would be
Bork.
Bork.
Yeah.
Grelog Bork.
Yep.
Okay. And the other one again?
That was
James
a
Trainer, the Human, and Johann Schmitty, the Water Genasi.
Correct.
No, I've already written it down.
Great. Yeah.
It was the two who were dueling because I may have something.
That was Grelog Bork and
Yep, got
Johann
it.
Schmitty.
And that's Johann. Thank you.
Yeah. James and his wife Rachel were found at their house later. All 4 corpses were killed by a single thrust, like that of a rapier. Okay. More against. There is a lot against. I'll tell you that right now. One of the points against that actually negates the character witness by Stella Bork is that Stella has actually been indicted as being a part of this in the statement given by Rodolfo, the pianist. Basically, that she's involved in the plot for insurance, inheritance, and power for her eldest son. The understanding is that her and Aria conspired to kill off Grelog and make it look like an accident, thus splitting the money between themselves. Yeah, there's that. Here we go. There is another statement. This is one provided by the Salem family. Aria killed Rachel Salem so that she could have James and his fortune to herself. When James saw what happened, he attempted to avenge his wife, but was killed by Aria swiftly with her greater rapier skills. Aria then locked the door to give herself time to escape undetected, the move of a master criminal mind, thus creating one of the best quotes from Muli. She is many things, but she is not a mastermind. And the last one, against Aria. The broken window and footprints that match Aria's shoes from the morning outside the Salem's bedroom. Outside the trainer's bedroom, sorry. So, does everyone have that?
Mm-hmm.
We've got a list of things to disprove, at least.
Mm-hmm. But that does not include evidence that may be found that may prove your innocence.
So, find evidence to prove my innocence, and hopefully disprove these statements. Because if we can prove that these statements aren't true,
If you
that
can
helps.
Are
cast,
we just amongst ourselves at the minute?
at the moment, yeah, this is in-game. I'll allow this now.
Okay.
and
Alright, please stop.
Rudolph, sorry, this is an absolutely awful shock. I didn't do it. I swear to you three, I did not do any. I didn't hurt them. I don't know what my servants are talking about, or I don't even know why Paula Schmitty's evidence is being admitted. She's not even my neighbour. She wasn't there. She couldn't have heard me saying anything to the two men fighting.
Oh, sorry.
Is she?
Paula Schmitty is the one holding the case against you and Stella.
But you
It was
said
your-
that.
Yeah,
You did say that she
Yes.
was one who was giving a statement about me shouting.
she gave a statement about you, about the damage you caused to her family home. It's your neighbours who put the statement in about
Okay.
you shouting for them to kill each other.
Okay, fair enough then. I wasn't. I mean, should I just go through what I remember? Because I swear to all three of you, none of this makes any sense to me. Grelog was round at my house because it was his evening the night before with me, and he'd stayed a bit longer than he should have. I went to show him out of the house, and Johann was there because it was supposed to be his day to spend with me. And they've never liked each other anyway, but they'd been getting angry and angrier. I don't know what about. I think it was business. I'm not sure. I tended to zone out when they talked about that. They were arguing something about them Grelog staying too long, and then Grelog said something. Grelog said to Johan, "At least my wife isn't sleeping with a younger, more attractive version of me." I think he was talking about Rodolfo, because Rodolfo was Paula's me for him. He's a pianist and he does the same thing I do. And then they started fighting on the front lawn, and I went out and I told them to stop. I kept saying, "Stop hurting each other, you're going to kill each other, stop it." And then they both they stabbed each other, and there was, oh God, there was blood everywhere, and I thought I'd better try and stop it, but I don't. Muli, I'm not like you, I'm not a doctor, I don't know what you do when someone's bleeding. And then I thought I'd better go to James, because James is a lawyer, he'll know what to do. So I went round to James's house, and I walked into the office, and he was already on the floor. He was on the floor, and there was blood all around him, and his wife, she looked up at me and she smiled, and then she started to come towards me with the knife, and she put it in herself. She put a dagger in herself. There was blood all over me. I was covered in their blood, and I didn't know what to do, but I knew they had a little boy, and I didn't want any little boy to walk into that room and see both his parents dead. That's why I locked the door. I locked the door so that he wouldn't see it. And I climbed out the window. I think I took a cloak. Because I was covered in blood. I don't remember. But I climbed out the window because I couldn't go back out through the door, could I? And
that would have been stupid.
Well, you locked the door to stop the lad getting in, unless you could have locked it again from the outside. Then you couldn't.
And then I walked over to Stella's, because Stella's literally the only other person I know on this island other than Rodolfo. I went to the back door because the guards were already there. I knew that they were going to come after me, so I'm sorry, I know I've behaved stupidly. I know I did, but I didn't know what else I was supposed to do.
You were in a state of shock with everything that just occurred, so instinct would take over. A lot happened, but I honestly wouldn't think that you would cause anything like this, from my opinion.
Their blood was all over me, and I knocked at the back door. Stella's eldest daughter, little Agatha, she came out and she asked what was the matter, and I told her I needed to see her mother. She told me to hide in their barn while she went to get her mother. Stella came out. I showed her that I was covered in blood and that I needed help, and she brought me a fresh set of clothes. And a ticket to get off the island, and I got off the island. I didn't know what else I was supposed to do, and I know I've behaved stupidly, I really do, but I just didn't know what else I was supposed to do.
There probably was nothing else you could have done. If you hadn't have got away, you'd be in the cells now, or worse. At least now we've got a team together that can try and get to the bottom of this. But I do have a couple of points that have come to mind during everything.
There's one other thing.
Okay.
Rodolfo and I were sort of seeing each other. We worked in the same sort of careers, and it was nice to have someone else who understood, and we were sort of seeing each other, and I know that's very bad professionally, I know that is, but I wanted some friends.
No, you were seeing each other personally, you were seeing other people professionally, it's a different thing.
So I don't know why he suddenly turned on me like this.
Pressure.
We were so... We were close, I don't know what...
Present?
People will say plenty of things under duress.
Exactly that. The servants... What servant isn't going to say what they're told for a gold coin?
They never liked
He's a
me.
prostitute, not a hero.
Rodolfo... Money, again. Or threats about his behaviour. Now, if word gets out to other husbands that he's not just teaching piano, he'd have a lot of people around this place coming after him.
Aria, can you give me an intelligence check on that?
That's a 16. No plus is just 16.
Fantastic. So you do remember one conversation with Rodolfo. He did not actually have a homestead that he worked for, as you did with Madame Burloin. Instead, he was a lone agent. So he did mention a couple of times that there were husbands or wives that did not know that their partner was seeing him.
Freslin, that's a fairly good point. He was primarily employed as a pianist, but there's an awful lot of husbands on this island who have never questioned how their wives still can't play a note.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of
So he's a freelancer.
Yes, I suppose that's what you'd call it.
Which then means he hasn't got a group like you had to back him up. And if other groups feel he's muscling in on their turf, for example, or if husbands come after him, he's got no one to back him up. So if someone's gone to him and said, you do what you're told, or everyone's going to know what you do, he's going to protect his own life.
Muli, could you give me an intelligence check? With advantage, this is medical.
Nat 20.
Oh! First nat 20 of the session, fantastic.
And the other one was an 18.
So not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. Okay, so you remember from your time working in the mortuary, there were a number of cases of freelancers, as we will call them for now, who were on the unfortunate side of a spurned husband or spurned wife. Your city that you worked in was not overly accommodating in the way as others within the archipelago for this type of work. So many of them did have to rely on their own intuition and abilities. Because of this, there were some very bad incidents of corpses that you obviously dealt with.
I've seen what happens to people in this situation when the spouse finds out. The man is a high-class prostitute. He's not a hero. That is all the motivation you need for him selling you out.
Yeah. He's skilled with his pocket dagger, but not a sword.
Mm.
If I will say one thing in his defence, he actually can play the piano.
Probably very poorly.
Can he play the rapier?
Precisely.
He plays the piano very, very well.
And if he has a passion for the piano, someone threatens to take a hammer to his hands.
So, he has a passion for the piano until someone threatens to I speak English. Until someone decides to garrote him with the E string.
Oof.
Oh God, you don't think he's in trouble as well then? No, you do, that's what you're saying.
He's under threat, that's why he's turned against you. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Then, please, I am asking all three of you, what am I supposed to... What... You seem determined that you are going to help me in this. More fool all of you. What am I going to do?
Well, we take each individual point and either prove, disprove, or create enough reasonable doubt. It's like I have one already. I know you can fight with a rapier.
Yes?
You fought alongside me, all of us, and fought hard. A question, and no disrespect, do you actually have the strength to kill a man with one single thrust? Because I've never seen you kill anyone with a single strike.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've just remembered something though. I didn't have a rapier. Stella gave me a set of clothes and one of Grelog's swords to keep myself safe. I didn't have a rapier that morning. I had no weapon on me whatsoever.
Did you have access to one? Was there one at your home?
No, there were
No,
none
that
in my
wasn't.
house. I've been trained with sword fighting when I was little, but I didn't bring them here. I was hired as a high-class prostitute.
So,
So who else on the island can use a rapier?
pretty much
GM
everyone.
input very quickly.
Mhm.
So back at your home on Ectorat V, you had a series of rapiers, but you didn't bring any of them with you because they were not actually self-defense rapiers. They were sportsmanship rapiers from your time under the tutelage of your bardic master.
I've got swords back home, but not here.
Not much use for killing a person on this island.
You said who else can who else can use a rapier? I'd imagine most of the noble people on. I mean, I can promise you, I saw Grelog and Johan kill each other with rapiers. They certainly had the strength. I don't.
Freslin and Muli, could both of you give me intelligence checks? Muli with advantage, Freslin at base, please. Actually,
Fucking hell!
That's when you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
what'd you get?
Were you just going to say
With advantage.
with advantage? Good, because I just rolled a 2. 7.
Okay, what's your intelligence modifier?
No.
Do you have proficiency in history?
No.
I mean, Moody rolled that 20.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a query of how many people get the information. Muli, from your time in a city quite similar to Dnet'Gow, which is the one you are in now. Yep, you're in Dnet'Gow. You remember seeing a lot of people of both nobility, nouveau riche, people of no military rank, but of money worthwhile stealing. Many of them would carry rapiers, and the number that actually knew how to use it and use it well, quite a lot. It's commonplace in most of the cities on the archipelago.
Effectively, it's the nobility's my first weapon, isn't it? Yes, the nobility's my first weapon, isn't it?
Exactly.
So we can narrow. We can eliminate the peasantry at least.
You're thinking who could have put a rapier wound where I saw a dagger wound, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
A stiletto dagger and a rapier are quite similar in profile, I believe.
Alright, could you give me an intelligence check on that information?
I could, but it's a 5. I get no pluses to intelligence, unfortunately.
You don't remember what type of dagger, you don't remember what type of wounds were inflicted on You only know the wounds that were inflicted on Johan and Grelog. You were not there long enough.
I'm really sorry, I don't remember what... For all I know, she was holding a letter opener. It looked like a knife, though.
She stabbed him with the same blade that she stabbed herself with.
I don't know.
But why the blade wasn't in the wound when she was found?
Likewise, Muli, you currently have in your possession a copy of the coroner's report on all 4 bodies.
Okay, didn't realise that.
It was something I mentioned at the end of the last session, but like I said, there was so much going on at the end of the last session. We were all, clearly, very excited.
Can I just jump in at that point?
Of course.
Can you check on Schmitty and Borg? Were their rapiers found with their bodies when they were found on the lawn? Is that in the report?
It is, Muli. Their blades were actually found in them.
Right, so you didn't pick up one of those blades? Just clearing that.
Sorry, I'm waiting for her to say her bit and then, yeah.
That's alright. Yeah. No, their blades were in them.
So, if we're going with the fact you didn't have a rapier, the evidence is there that you didn't pick up one of theirs.
I mean,
So, again, that just ticks another box for us.
Muli, please don't be angry at me. I should have said this sooner. I'm
I'm always angry with you. Go on.
Don't be any more angry with me than you already are. And I'm going to take the other rapier out of my backpack or wherever I'm keeping it.
Yeah, it was basically tucked into your carpet bag.
This is the weapon Stella gave me when I left the island. I've changed it out since, but I think I've only used it to fight against a couple of bandits who attacked me, who were human. If I killed Grelog and indeed Johan with it, it would have orc and genasi blood on it. It absolutely cannot have either of those
Well, no,
bloods.
their blades were found stuck in each other, so they're confirmed to have been killed by each other's swords.
Could I get intelligence checks from Freslin, Lenny, and Muli? You do not have enough information about...
Single or...
Single for everyone except for Muli and... Actually, a single for you, advantage for Muli and Lenny. You do not have enough background knowledge of military or weaponry. You use them as thoughts.
That's not bad.
17.
17. I see a 20.
Yep, nat 20.
18.
Okay, everybody passes. Everyone passes high as well, so you all get the same information. You get a little extra. So, you having spent time in castles back on the mainland, Muli, you having seen enough blades come in that were the murder weapon of a corpse you were doing an autopsy on. The two of you know that any weapon, no matter how much cleaning you apply to it, will always contain a small trace of every bit of blood that has ever been used on it, as well as fat, oils. You can clean a sword for hours after you kill one person with it, and there will still be a trace of the blood, the oil, the fat, everything that makes up that person.
The only way of really getting the blade completely clean is to stick it in a forge.
Exactly, you'd have to reforge the blade from
Well,
scratch.
either that or just heat
Cauterize
it
it.
enough to cauterize it.
Which is what
But
Lenny...
then it's still going to damage the handle.
Which is what Lenny actually realises. The only way of removing any traces of blood or things from that, it would require actually quite advanced forging skills, an incredibly hot furnace. And you have to take a blade apart at its very core. When Aria actually changed out her blade from the basic rapier to the vicious rapier that you found during the Sahugane fight, she had it turned into a cane sword. She didn't even use any of the parts of the rapier that she's now presenting to the party.
So this one's basically been the weapon she gave you that you've just been carrying around
I used
from
it.
once you got your better
I didn't want to throw
crafted
it
equipment.
away.
Obviously you wanted maybe one day to give it back and say thank you.
I sort of wanted to keep it. It was Grelog's, and I was very fond of him.
There might be a slight other way to sway things more in your favour with regards to the duel that happened as well, sweetie. So I've just got a couple of questions I just want to ask. So did this all happen indoors or outdoors? Whereabouts?
It was on the front lawn of my house.
On the front lawn. Did you see anybody else around you?
I don't remember seeing anyone, but I'd be surprised if people didn't hear. It was very loud.
Can you give me an intelligence check?
Oh, 15.
There was a crowd of people around it. People came out of their houses in their pyjamas to watch.
Wait, yeah. There were people, yes.
Okay.
You're right. Yes. Oh, God. Oh, that's going to be
So-
embarrassing. There'll be hundreds of them.
Okay, so there was quite a lot of people that saw the fight. Now, I'm just trying to think about, because some people heard, because there's the whole thing about saying that you spurred people on, which I obviously believe you wouldn't do such a thing. My thought possibly, because they were like thinking that you were spurring them on saying kill them or kill him, but knowing you would say please don't kill him, and they didn't hear that.
I don't remember exactly what I was saying, but I'm sure I did say don't kill him.
Because the other thing is as well is, considering especially if it was a very highly emotionally charged fight, there would be a lot of shouting going on. So just to kind of make them probably question their own accusation as well, maybe you didn't hear properly because there was too much going on at once. Because then what about the other people that were witnessing as well? They might have heard something different. They could have been at other parts. If there was a crowd, they couldn't just be standing in one space, it'd probably be happening all around you.
Yeah, they'd be coming in from different angles.
Muli, looks like you have something you want to say?
No, I'm just...
Okay, no worries.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
said, I'm just constantly looking at the camera just to see if you're doing the language of like wanting to say something. So obviously
Muli,
you're not in the room.
from your experience of the law, is egging two people on in a fight or a duel to the death actually a crime?
Give
Now,
me...
if she had said, kill him, when I was in that brawl, in that pit fight, people were shouting, kill him, smash his head in.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a crime. It's a fight, and people are going to shout things. But as far as I'm aware, shouting, kill him, rip his head off, stab him, whatever.
The issue we have is that is not the crime of which he has been accused. That is a poor character witness. If we're not questioning that is not a crime, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah, because that's one of the things she's been accused of.
That's an accusation to say, oh well, she's guilty, when technically that's not the case. That's
Guilty of nothing.
Yeah.
I'm looking through these character witnesses. Paula Schmitty, that's obviously Johann's wife. She knew that I think she knew that he was seeing me, but from what he told me, their marriage hadn't been happy for a very long time. I mean, she was seeing Rodolfo. They were clearly not seeing each other.
Don't need to roll for this. This is actually something discussed in background. We did previously discuss that the contract that you signed, which we actually did fill out, requires that every party involved in this be fully aware of the situation.
True.
Not just the people who hire you,
But their spouse. So, yes, she must have known. Actually, I've probably got a copy of my contract somewhere, or it'll be on file.
Give me a fucking look roll.
So how can she then accuse you
One.
of
Been destroyed.
destroying her family when she was aware of the contract up front? So there's another thing we've just undermined.
You didn't grab your contract when you left the house. Why would you need it?
My contract might still be in my house. That outright says that she must have been aware of me.
Again, if we can find proof of that contract, then her saying you going behind her back with her husband and destroying her marriage is completely blown out of the water because she was aware of it and signed off on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing we've unpicked.
Muli, did you have something to say there?
No, it was basically, yeah.
Yeah, this is you listening and mulling over things.
Yeah. Anyone else want to top up?
Oh yes, please. Something else, Muli. You also have in your possession a open invitation to examine the corpses, which have actually not been buried yet.
Good.
That's okay.
Very quickly, Muli, you actually know the reason why all four have not been buried yet. So, with orcs and half-orcs, Lenny, you would also know this quite simply, it requires the presence of a high cleric of Grumpsh or Lothic. Luthic. Before a orc funeral can be presided over. So even if someone grows up in a city, they are still considered an orc. Water genasi require burial at sea, which, if it's not been attended to by his wife yet, why would it be done?
Oh, sorry.
You're right.
The only one it's unsure why he hasn't been buried yet is actually James Traynor, because he's human. Now, Kalashtar have their own rites and own rituals that even you never presided over, due to the linking of the spirit mind. Basically, Kalashtar are a race of humanoids who have a spirit living in their head. A bit like Josiah Drax. Is it Josiah Drax?
Josiah Drax.
Thank you, from Star Trek. But instead of a living creature being inside their head, it's a spiritual entity sent from the dream world.
But he's a human.
He is, but
His wife.
she wasn't. Why has James not been buried yet?
Yeah.
Human.
So why? The Genasi and the Genasi and the Orc. I know why they haven't been buried. Why hasn't he?
And why hasn't she? Although she's got the spirit.
Yeah, there's a special rite that needs to be performed by Kalashtarians.
Can they do that without the person's permission? Had they put a spirit in his head to try and turn him into one of them?
Everyone at the table give me an Arcana roll.
Could I have advantage because I know a Kalashtar?
+1.
You do. Yes, you may have advantage. Everyone else at base. Lenny, disadvantage.
I was thinking.
You
12.
must have been a Kalashtar, but unlikely. Sorry, what was that, Muli?
12. That's with my proficiency.
Fair enough.
18.
Oh wow,
18.
16.
16.
3.
3. Weirdly enough, so the two people at the table that have an idea is the person that actually knows a Kalashtar very closely, and the person who probably has never met one in his life.
Instinct, dear.
They can't...
It's theoretically possible, but a dream spirit being applied to someone before they're born could cause any number of psychoses. And Kalashtar already have an issue with psychoses anyway.
It certainly can't be done on a full-grown adult man. If they transfer spirits, it tends to be... It could be done theoretically, but they'd go mad more than likely. They tend to do it on unborn babies. They're unborn or...
So their brains are clear.
And
So what we have now is a potential madman.
I was thinking that it's possible because if this occurred while not being being a fully grown adult, then disturbances.
Sorry, just
And
add
he was a
more people
lawyer.
one moment. Everyone's seen the picture of Bilbo Baggins going, why shouldn't I keep it?
Yeah.
I rather like this idea. Why shouldn't I keep this? Thank you.
But James wasn't... James...
So I know it's not that. Okay.
Potentially now.
But I promise you, when I walked into that room, James was already dead. Whatever they're saying that I killed his wife first, they're saying I killed his wife first, and then James attacked me and I killed him. That isn't what happened. Yes?
Were there signs of a struggle? Did she seem at all injured before she obviously stabbed herself?
Give me an intelligence check.
Please roll nicely. That's a
Cack.
property dice. Come on. 16.
She was plastered in his blood. That's all you remember.
She might have been in... I'm sorry, she was covered in his blood. Most of the room was actually covered in blood. God, there was a lot of blood. Yes, sorry. He was on the floor, she was covered in his blood. It was all up her arms. Yes, it was all up her arms and over her front.
Just everywhere.
All
Her
over.
white hair was practically dyed red.
God, she was absolutely covered, and then she ran at me. There was so much, but she was covered in what I hope was his blood, otherwise she'd been stabbing herself for a very long time before she took it out on me.
But no visible injuries on her.
Not that I remember.
You didn't stick around to give a proper assessment of bodies.
You've got both of their reports.
And she can look at
It
the bodies.
says we were told they were killed with a single strike from a rapier. Arya said she was stabbed herself with a dagger. Is there anything in the report about there being a knife in the room or a dagger in the wound or anything such?
There is nothing.
So
Please,
somebody's doctored that.
Let Muli give that to the party, just because then we stay in character.
Okay, pressure.
So there is nothing in the report. Literally all the report says is that every single one of them was killed with a single rapier wound. The assessment of Grelog and Johan is that they did actually kill each other, but it was Arya who egged them on. Each was killed by a single knife wound. Grelog to the throat and Johan through the heart. In the regard of James Trainer and Rachel Trainer Salem, both were killed by a single rapier wound. Rachel killed by a quick thrust through the gut and up through the chest, and practically through the spine. And James was killed by a single rapier blade through the left eye. So, Muli?
There was no weapons in the room. At the not when the bodies were discovered.
Does that report also include evidence of the room, or is that a separate report?
The report is only the coroner's report, so on the instant of death by the corpses.
I've just thought of It says in the report, though, that part of the evidence against me is the footprints outside the room.
That was what I was coming to. The broken window and the footprints outside the room. Do we know if the broken glass was on the inside or the outside?
Well,
Because if the glass is on the outside, the window was broken out, which would be you leaving, as you say. If the glass was on the inside, the window would be broken in, which would suggest you broke in that way.
Your intelligence checks in so well, I will allow you to roll an average with a lower DC. You may roll advantage on your intelligence die.
okay.
You've been rolling very well for this.
10.
Yep.
I'm not bright.
You're not. You never smashed a window.
I didn't
Closed the window carefully.
I didn't break the window. I just unlocked it, climbed out, and closed it behind me. I didn't break the window.
So whoever went into
Who
the
did?
after you broke the window. The person who also unlocked the door and removed the knife.
I want to look at that house.
Very much. I think your eyes need to get in that place.
Oh, sorry, one other thing. I did remember saying this at the end of the session, I made note of it as well. The entire party has search warrants to be able to move freely through the city, in as long as it's something to do with this case.
First port of call then, Aria's old house. Let's see if we can find the old contract. Because that blows everything Paula Schmitty said straight out of the water.
If that's the case, if I might, I would very much like to go and at least see Stella, if not pay her bail. I don't want her to be sat in a jail.
Can't pay her bail.
Why not?
Her bail
Because that's not how bail works on this island.
Muli is correct. The fact that she is in the prison herself is your bail. You can't actually buy her out of the jail cell,
I see.
unless you want to take her place, which removes a member from the investigation team.
Alright then.
Basically, she's in the jail as your bond.
Life for a life.
I would like to see if I can discover a bit more intel from the witnesses from the duel, because there was a crowd. Now, Ara, you were in a heightened state of despair at the time when you saw them fighting. Big crowd watching. Someone's accusing you of spurring them on. But how could you spur someone on if you're-
5 people.
5 people.
5 witnesses have said that she was spurring them on to kill each other.
But if they saw her, and if she knew that she wasn't actually spurring them on, they would see her facial reaction, wouldn't they? They would see how she was looking by face and body language. It wouldn't make sense if you're saying, please don't kill them, or saying kill them, and you're looking absolutely terrified and probably crying.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense. That's why I'm saying I may not be absolutely correct, but if this comes up into court, it might make some people start asking a few questions or doubt the accusation. It's not just what they say, it's what
It's
you
how
see.
they say it.
Yeah, it's
But that's where 2 birds, 1 stone. We go to Aria's, see if we can find any evidence or contract there, and talk to the neighbours while we're in the area.
I certainly wouldn't mind asking my servants a few things as well. What's a Fiena?
Can everyone everyone including Aria make a religion check? Muli with advantage.
So that'll be
19.
With advantage, actually. 19.
14.
14.
3.
6.
So, to the religiously inclined paladin and the other tiefling in the room, Fiena is a demonic, one of the lords of the Hell Realms. Her remit is, she is the daughter of Baal, one of the dead lords, one of the most powerful demons in all of Hell, and she is one of the origins of a line of tiefling known as Fiena tieflings. Their remit is particularly known as the area of the succubi. They are full succubus tieflings. They are what people think of when most people think of as tieflings. The sexual, seductive, beautiful...
Well now.
What?
Crude and obvious.
What's I don't know what a Fianna is.
Fianna. Succubi.
Oh,
As accusations go, it's rather crude, isn't it?
to be honest, I'm rather flattered, but I'm a glacier.
No, you're not.
Demonic hell lords and the patron of a group of tieflings. But
But I'm a glacier tiefling.
Exactly.
one point that
I'm
just
not-
struck my mind.
I don't have the right... No, I do have the right colourway.
No, you don't.
I don't have the right colourways, but I promise I'm a glacier tiefling.
Can you give me one extra roll, actually?
17.
You remember one thing about Fianna tieflings.
Hmm?
Something your father told you. So your father is a Zariel tiefling. One of the tiefling paladins, as it were. Powerful and strong. He got that lineage from his father. You got your lineage from your grandmother, who is also a glacier tiefling. Your entire family has the same pink colourways, with the exception of one. Your mother. She was a Fianna tiefling. You do not have any of the traits of a Fianna.
I'm not a Fianna. I can't do anything that Well, I mean, I can play a succubus if someone pays me enough, but I have none of the traits of a Fianna.
Muli, with your role, you would know that exactly. You have met Fianna tieflings, many of them actually quite good members of society, actually, wanting to dissuade the belief that they are man-stealers or woman-stealers and succubi. Many of them have typical nice jobs, like bookshop owners.
Better sell some good books, though. I've got a point that just came to me during that description. Succubi are seducers, but there's also the legend, I'm not sure, like the succubi is the female, the incubi is the male.
That is correct.
But they also steal dreams.
So in the D&D world, and actually your role would know this, I mean, you're getting messages from your goddess at the same time, funneling some of this information. You would know that succubi and incubi within the D&D world do affect people in their dreams, pushing them to do things that are inherently evil. There are stories of people who have been affected by succubi and incubi to, through these pleasurable dreams that they have, to actually like kill their neighbour's dog, or steal someone's child, or just enact horrible things. So it's less dream stealing in the D&D world.
But more
it's
dream corruption.
Exactly, yes.
So you've got these succubi who corrupt people's dreams, and you've got these Callista who have a dream spirit in their head.
Kalishtar, yes.
Kalishtar. Is that a coincidence or is that a link? I don't know. But dream demons, dream spirits.
Look,
What's the difference? One's angry, the other's not.
They're saying that I was worshipping this Fianna thing. I wasn't. The only thing I worship is Umberlee.
So
Please
when we-
praise-
Was someone else?
Hold on, sorry.
What?
Muli?
Was someone else?
I don't know. I mean, I think Grelog just worshipped Grumsh.
There are two possibilities here. Either they were lying, which I am not dismissing. I'm not dismissing. I do not take a damn thing on trust. Either they were lying, or someone has mistaken you for someone else.
Or the lying
Someone's-
point coming back to some of the servants
I mean,
were worshipping Fianna.
That's what.
When
Yeah.
your house got searched, they said, no, that's hers,
honestly,
Oh.
to protect themselves.
honestly,
I
if
think we were on similar wavelengths there.
I like the thinking between Freslin and Muli. Aria?
Honestly, if I was going, if I were
That's
going
not
to
bad.
accuse myself of something, such as worshipping dark gods, I suppose a succubi god would make sense. I know what I am, but it's as if someone's just opened a book, looked to the first dark goddess or gods of sexuality, and then picked out the first name they saw.
Yeah, that'll do.
As I say, crude and obvious.
It's a lie, and it's not a very good one.
Which is good for us, because if it was a good lie, we'd be stuff trying to prove it.
Alright, so we want to go to my old house.
Yep.
I think we could try and find Rodolfo as well. I know he's saying all this about me. I understand that, but he's also... They're saying that he's involved somehow, and...
I want to look at the crime scene and I want to look at the bodies.
So,
Well, that is the first crime scene. The duel scene.
Well, the corpses are here as well.
Right.
Actually, in the guardhouse. The coroner is in the guardhouse. That said, though, sorry, someone said something that actually just caught me. So, talking about where to go, there was a thing about Rodolfo.
I would like to see Stella as well. If I
That's
can.
it. So, in regard of Rodolfo's statement, which you do also have, basically, Muli has just got this stack of paperwork. And just leafing through that, Muli, you quickly find a copy of Rodolfo's statement. And basically, he's admitted to being involved in the conspiracy to kill Grelog and Johan, and as a third split with Aria and Stella.
And I assume he's bargained for immunity by saying all this.
That is what Muli finds, yes.
Yep. Yes. He's got immunity. That's why.
So... I see.
Say it or else, and if you do say it, you're off the hook. Basically, he's been threatened and coerced at the same time.
Something we did discuss last session, and this was to specifically Muli, but also actually to Freslin as well. You two have met Genasi before. Typically, Genasi are travellers, they move through ports, they rarely set up stop. If they do, fucking hell, do they manage well whatever they do. They are, by rule, tenacious. And many of them are very charismatic. That said, Genasi are the rarest of the demi-celestial races. So the demi-celestial races include Tiefling, Aasimar, and Genasi. Finding 2 Genasi in one town is like winning the lottery. Finding 2 Genasi of the same type in one town, you might as well get struck by... You might as well be struck by lightning 17 times on the same spot.
Just...
Sorry, who was the other Genasi we've got?
That
Johan.
was Johan and Rodolfo were both...
Yeah, Johan. Sorry, I've spelt it differently there.
They are both water Genasi.
Water.
I understand you want to go see the corpses. They are already here, Muli. I would like to go and see Stella. If we're in the guardhouse,
She's already here.
I would like to see her. I don't think I want to see the bodies, but...
While
we will
you
treat
two are
them
doing that, should we go get some refreshments?
Okay.
Because I think we've been doing a lot of thinking. A snack, someone to wet our whistles. Once we've done that, then go to your house. I think that'd be...
So, meet up
And we'll
outside.
keep our ear out. Well, we'll come back here with some stuff.
So
We'll keep
everyone meet
our ear
back
out
here.
while we're on the street. So you two go do your thing. I'm going to use that prologue as a smoker.
Perfect time.
We're going to literally
Yeah.
go get some snacks.
Okay.
I will just say to Muli then, I don't think I could stomach seeing the bodies, but you will be kind to them, won't you?
I'll do what I need to.
I know. And I know what good or bad can you actually do to them now. They're dead, but I don't want you to think I wasn't fond of them. Well, no, I was fond of Grelog, the other two.
Well, you were certainly fonder of them than whoever killed them.
I hope so. I really do. I don't understand why someone would do this to me. I really don't. All the wives should have known. Stella certainly knew. We were friends.
Oh, greed, religious zealotry. Perhaps they just don't like you. That's usually reliable.
They can not like me as much as they like, but they must have all known. I think they all know.
They should have all known.
They should have all known. Do we know is Rodolfo being held? No, he wouldn't
No.
be held here, no.
He was let go.
So he'll be somewhere.
Mhm.
I think talking to him might not be the worst idea. Rodolfo,
I'll be talking to people.
Rodolfo, I know he has turned on me, but he was not he wasn't unkind.
What occurs to me with him, he has immunity now. He has nothing to lose by telling me the truth.
Exactly. He has absolutely nothing to lose one way or the other. Either we prove this is completely a bag of lies and he's proven innocent of any indictment, or he's immune anyway. Right, shall we... Do you want to go and look at the bodies, and I'll go and speak with Stella?
As you will.
Thank you.
Okay.
Muli, I really am sorry that you've been involved in all this. I didn't want anyone else to be involved in all this.
Well, we're in it now.
Suppose so.
What matters is how we deal with it.
Thank you for helping me, though.
I'll remind you.
Oh, I wouldn't have it any other way, darling.
So, Muli and Aria parting their ways, the boys already having headed off. I will run Aria and Stella first, in case those two come back for note-taking purposes. Is that alright with you, Emma?
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, because there is a shit ton for you, don't worry.
Oh, good, I'm going to have to do rolls, and that's when the dice are going to start cacking on me, isn't it?
To be fair, all of these rolls you get with advantage.
Yeah, I know, but
This is
I've rolled 2 nat 20s already, that's not going to hold.
We'll see.
CSI Middle Earth.
You have about the same look as Chris does, and that's weird. And actually, you have the same look as a rogue. Okay.
God awful.
Hang on,
No,
can I-
amazing.
does-
Amazing or god awful.
Can I give her a bardic inspiration just in case?
It lasts for 10 minutes.
Fuck it. Yeah, bardic inspiration. Use that when you need to.
Okay, so that's a plus d6.
That's a plus of a D8 now. I've levelled up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Level 5.
Cool. Right, okay. Right, off you go.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So, the two of you go much in the same direction up to a point, which is where you have this conversation, at which point Aria drifts off in the direction of the dungeons where people are kept, and Muli...
Have that on the heat so it can hatch.
Oh yeah, the dragon egg. Muli, meanwhile, you head lower in the direction you are pointed to, in the direction of the morgue. So,
Oh, I am so evil.
what?
Not a minute, yeah.
No, in character, I've just thought of something I just need to check.
We'll pop in with that in a moment.
No,
So-
it's just a me thing to check, I don't need to.
Ah, fair enough. So, Jenny.
Mhm.
Aria goes into the guardhouse and is directed by the cold, but only professionally, guards. This isn't a coldness of, we know you did it, why are you here? This is a coldness of, they're just doing their job. Get in, get out, we don't care. They're not paid enough to care. Led down by one of the guards, you find Stella. You remember Stella well. She looks as pristine as the last time you saw her. Beautiful blonde hair in a tight braid. Nice dress. Beside her is her only son. You can see the orcish traits of her husband in him. He looks a lot like Grelog. I will say that. As they see you, the son just stays where he is and just points you out to Stella, at which point Stella, standing up, walks towards you. Give me an insight check. Oh, with advantage, actually. You're good at reading people.
Thank God for that advantage. That's 12 plus 3 is 15.
Great. You can see in her eyes and her expression and just body language, she wants to run and hug you and kiss you and say, what are you doing here, all this, but she knows the guards are watching, so she's keeping herself controlled.
Bring some snacks.
Hello, Aria.
Walk up to the bars and... My darling Stella, what on earth? You didn't have to...
Of
Why have
course,
they arrested your boy?
because he's the sole inheritor.
He's 11.
But it still looks like he's involved. They think we're involved. They think all of us are involved.
Why?
Paula. She's saying that me, you, and Rodolfo, that pianist you told me about, that you two, that we all planned together, that Grelog and her husband would die, and that the four of us would get their inheritance, and that she admitted to all of this. She's indicted herself, technically, but in the same move, basically admitted to all of our guilt to get herself off. So she looks like the guilty party who is admitting to all of this and makes me and you look worse. And then with Rodolfo's confession on top of that.
I've got friends with me. We're trying to prove that none of it's true. You know, I wouldn't have done anything to hurt either of them.
There's no point. Just... We'll be exiled at worst. If you stay, you'll be executed, though. You may as well just leave. Be safe. Go home. You'll be looked after there. They've got too much on us, and I don't know who's stacking the deck or who's doing anything, but there's no point.
There's absolutely a point, because none of it's true, not a word of it.
Of course it's not true.
We've already, me and my friends, put together that some of the lies that have been made up are so stupid and nonsensical.
He's the Inquisitor.
If you think you can win, and if you think you can manage it and bring truth out, then you have my full support. But if it looks like things are getting bad, please, just take your friends and go.
Stella, if I take the stand instead, I'll be executed. What will happen to you and your children?
If you stay and you can't win the case, we'll all be executed.
All of you?
Including me and the boy.
And your girls?
They'll be left penniless but alive. And your friends, I wouldn't be surprised if Paula pushes and the judge agrees that, and the fact that they brought in an Inquisitor on top of that.
Inquisitor?
Inquisitor Salem.
Oh, God.
He's the prosecution, and the Inquisitors always get the right answers, or at least the answers that they want.
But this surely must be a conflict of interest. It's got to be a conflict of interest because Rachel was his relative.
She was?
Her name was Salem before they got married.
Sister. Well, maybe that's something you could use. Maybe you could point out this is a conflict of interest, but the Inquisitors are the governing law of the entire archipelago. In fact, all of Kilrine.
And he's taken a personal interest.
Maybe if you could get word to the High Inquisitors. I mean, I don't know how quickly you could get a message to them.
I could get a message to them instantaneously if I knew a High Inquisitor.
You need to know a High Inquisitor.
I need to know a face, a name, something very, very specific. If you have any idea of a High Inquisitor's name.
I don't have the name of a High Inquisitor, but I know the name of someone who has a name and is related to a High Inquisitor. There's a lizard folk woman in town.
Yes.
Joanna
in town, a lizard folk. Where'd I find her?
You'll find her by the docks. So I don't know what her connection is, but she knows one of the High Inquisitors. If you could somehow get a message through her, I don't know what.
It's a spell. I can speak to anyone at all if I just have a name.
She'll be able to give you a name. I think a friend of hers is the sister of a High Inquisitor, and she always brags about having gone to dinner with him.
That helps.
Or her. I tend to tune out, to be honest.
Boring dinner conversation.
Quite.
Still, if this all goes well and we get out of this, when would Grelog's funeral be?
I tried to arrange it beforehand, but
evidence.
There's not
evidence now.
There's not a lot of orcs in town, especially not religious orcs. Maybe a few days.
In which case, please, could I?
Of course, you'd be more than welcome. But please, look after yourself first. You are completely innocent in all of this. You came and you spent time with us, and at the end of the day, you were hired for a job. And it was lovely spending time with you, it was, but you have a family, you have friends back on your own island. Quite frankly, this should have nothing to do with you.
You're my friend too, Stella. And I'm not going to leave you to just suffer like this. It's not true, not a word of it, and I won't see this stand. I will not let this stand and go onto my knees a bit, because I'm assuming the boy's small.
Yeah, he's 11.
Yeah. Jonathan, come here, sweetheart.
He wanders over, he's like, yes, Auntie?
Give him a little hug through the bars. You're going to be really brave for your mummy now, aren't you?
Always.
Good boy.
Okay, we will close that up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You did very well, well done. Right, Muli.
Yes.
You've already got your cheerleading section ready.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Heading down into the bowels of the guardhouse. You're used to working this far underground. Most coroners are. Heading down, you find the mortuary. Larger than the one in your own island. But then again, back on the island you worked on, there were multiple mortuaries, and you worked for a private one, not for one for the guards. That said, you had been brought in for your expertise in second eyes. Quite frankly, even by the sheer stint of the fact that your race is so hated on your island, no one could admonish your skill at dealing with the dead. And as you go down, a little feeling at the back of your head, familiar at this point. You felt this feeling more than the other feeling. And not exactly a voice, just words. Subtle, strong. The truth is more important than anyone's game, darling.
Naturally.
For the next half an hour, as long as you're surrounded by corpses and the dead, you may add +2 to any roll. So
Not just once or
permanently. As long as you are surrounded by this much death, and let's call it what it is, shadow energy, you have a +2 to every roll. With the exception of combat rolls, of course. So, you have a +D8, you may use at any time, +2 to every roll, and advantage on anything with dealing with the dead.
D8 because we realised I could give a bardic inspiration for this as well.
Tap it on before she goes.
okay.
You are gonna have fun.
You are amped.
Walking in, you find groups of coroners. You recognise the uniform, you wore it for long enough, though their colourways are much the same, the style is slightly different. These look wealthier than the coroners of your own mortuary. You see workers working at their task, and as you walk in, a large, very large, you see this race once before, back on the island that you originally came from, when Jimmy sent you to meet with Quincy. The man walking towards you with a friendly gait, a large smile, cow-like ears as he stands 9 feet above you. The Furbolg mortician leans down and says, "Well, hello, how can I help you, little lady?"
I'm here about the... Oh god, what was the name? What was the name again? The couple. I'm sorry.
To be honest, you've got letters for all 4 of them.
Yes. I believe these are all in order.
Just give me one moment. Yep, got everything I need. I'll have some of my workers get them out. Snaps his fingers. Bring out case numbers 263 to suit 267. 3, 5, 6, 7. Yes, well done me.
You missed 4.
3, 4.
Yeah, you missed the 4.
Yeah, I did. 233 to 236. And just you see the workers move away. If they weren't dealing with a patient at the moment, they go and start opening a few of the wall slides, and the 4 open before you are a large half-orc man. Now you're used to seeing Lenny, who is a half-orc. This man is nothing in comparison to Lenny's build and musculature. This half-orc man is much older, for one thing, probably pushing into his later years, 60s, 70s maybe. Very old for a half-orc. Hair, which was probably once white, turning grey. Musculature that he may have had in his youth, lost to a life of decadence. Naked, completely all the way down, stitches where he's been opened up to check wounds and such things. The toe tag reads Grelog Bork. Give me a medicine check. With advantage and +2.
15.
This man has no wounds about him, save one. Body is pristine. This is a half-orc who was raised in the city, never seen battle in his life. One wound on his body, straight through the throat and out the other end. Clearly a rapier wound. You have the rapier that Aria handed you. It doesn't match this wound.
Interesting.
The next body.
So this man's never seen combat before this fight.
Ever. Most likely having been taught fencing and rapier use as a way of self-defense, but never had to use it, or at least never lost a fight to the point that it would cause a scar.
Okay.
The next one.
Yeah.
Blue-skinned, even dead, looks like he's emanating water. You know that Genasi are elemental in nature and bring with them an aspect of the elemental plane of their origin. You've met air Genasi and fire Genasi before. Fire Genasi emanate heat. You met one on the previous island, the blacksmith. Air Genasi look like they are constantly windswept, like they're constantly standing in hero hair. Very attractive. This is a water Genasi. His skin looks oily, his hair sodden, as if he has just gotten out of a pool or just come out of a shower. Even now, long after his death, he still emanates this feeling of wetness. Couldn't not.
He's
Give
always
me-
moist.
Give me your medicine check. Again with advantage, again with +2.
15 again.
You may not need that bardic inspiration. Looking over the body, this man... Water Genasi are known to be strong and wise by nature. This Water Genasi in front of you clearly didn't hear the reports that overweightness can cause many health problems. He is rotund, far beyond whatever life he may have lived. A life of decadence and wealth, far better than any you could ever hope to attempt already. I mean, you with your many years ahead of you, with the advanced years that a tiefling gives you, you'd never be able to live to a life of this decadence. I mean, quite frankly, if the sword hadn't killed him, the massive coronary, or quite frankly, the gout would have killed him first.
Even if I cooked for you 17 times a day for the rest of your life, you'll still never get that fat.
Exactly. This man, though, he has seen combat. Scars adorn the front of his body. Mostly slash wounds. You've seen wounds like this from pirates and merchant sailors in your years. These are old wounds, healed and cured long ago. The wound that you're most interested in is the single stab wound. When you were told about this wound, you were told it went through his heart. It didn't go through his heart. You can see that right now. This stab wound went directly through his sternum and through his spine. Only a race of extreme strength could do this. Again, lining it up with the sword that Arya handed to you,
No.
it's very similar. It doesn't match exactly, but most likely from the same smith.
That is one hell of a blow.
Most likely this man was still alive as he suffocated.
As in on his own blood.
No, with the spinal column severed, which is what has happened here, it would destroy the neuron system between the brain and the body. He would have just stopped breathing, but he still would have been alive in his final moments.
Okay.
Yeah, it's way too late to do that. The next one.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry, did you have any questions about the body? You can ask questions, of course.
I'm just thinking, Grelog's elderly and has seen no practical combat. And now I appreciate half-orcs are stronger than your average person, but could he really have done that? I mean, obviously no, they saw him do it.
He definitely could have done it. Half-orcs, even in their old age, are still strong. A weak half-orc is a half-orc that would sooner commit suicide.
Okay.
Think proper Viking style with half-orc.
Okay.
Hanky bastards.
Okay, but the point is, it wasn't stabbed in the stomach, just went right through the...
Straight through the
Through
middle.
the sternum takes some doing.
Yeah,
To have the power to go through the sternum and through the spine
with a rapier.
with a rapier, I'm surprised the blade didn't snap.
I was going to say, really sorry to interrupt, but orcish traits, would he have had rage ability as well?
Oh, it wouldn't have rage ability. But let me ask you something else that a half-orc does have. When you roll a crit pass, what do?
We have to basically, well,
You
Double
add an
add
additional dice number before you double the number. Imagine a rapier that does D8 damage. The same damage as your spear when you wield it two-handed. Your sword when you single wield it. Imagine that. Now doing 2d8 and then double
it.
yeah, that's going to do it.
Shish kebab.
before you even add a strength modifier.
Yeah, so he critted.
Yeah. I actually rolled out this fight
Mm-hmm.
for full details. I rolled out everything
Cool.
so I could give you full details. That took some doing, and you didn't know that.
Interesting.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Any more questions about Johan or... Oh, one thing you do notice, these two men were stabbed at the exact same time. The suturation on the wounds, the blood pooling. If these two men weren't stabbed at the same time, they were basically stabbed within seconds of each other.
Okay.
I will let you make notes. Just need to go to the toilet, and then we
So
continue.
basically, while Grelog's rapier was stuck through Johann's spine, probably wedged in at that point, Johann either at the same time did a high thrust or just afterward went,
Could he?
I think Johan got him first.
Oh, we
Stab
had...
through the spine. You are not moving after that.
Whereas Grelog could have still been moving with the sword through his head.
See, this is perfect because if Lenny goes to question the witnesses, he can then see what everyone else saw.
mm-hmm.
So in case of...
Or they both thrust at the same time,
And
literally.
And here's the thing, because some people could say, where was the stab? Some people might say sternum heart.
No, you're right. Sternum heart. Oh, sorry, I was putting my hand up to say something when you finished. What I was going to say is, if they're presumably trying to claim I was egging them on, etc., etc., and there's some element of maybe I was controlling them, as you pointed out, I do not have the strength to stab one of these men through, let alone two at the exact same time.
No.
So if they try and go with Aria did it, we've already got the answer to that. Aria physically cannot have pushed this
She doesn't
sword.
have the strength.
Yep. Yep.
You don't have the strength.
I mean, this bit's not in question. We know that these two stabbed each other. That is not in question. Several witnesses saw them stab each other.
And here's the thing. You got
Well, the thing is,
five-
if he had been stabbed through the spine there, it's possible his arms would still function. Because the severing is below that point. Sorry, human anatomy geek mode.
Yeah.
His legs had been gone.
Yeah.
And like you said, his lungs, his diaphragm had ceased to function, so he'd just
Exactly.
not been able to breathe. So even if he could talk to the dead, he wouldn't be able to answer because he can't draw breath.
Well, talk to the expert form for that, but none of you have that spell.
Cal, how big was this crowd, by the way? You said there was a crowd. How
Oh,
many?
the crowd, probably
Yeah.
about tens of people.
5 people. Sorry, Jane.
No, I was going to say,
Sorry, before we come back into the room, I was just answering a few questions. Right.
So, hang on, I just need to make sure. So, if I were to say open your hand up and take a look, his heart would actually be intact.
Yes.
Okay.
Tell that. You can see that just from looking at him. It's completely in the wrong spot. The entrance and exit wounds are nowhere near the heart, nowhere near any of the arteries that go into the heart.
But for some eyewitness who doesn't know medicine,
Here's the thing though.
they were stabbed through
The
the
coroner's report says through the heart.
The
If the coroner's missed that, what else has he missed?
Go ask him.
And you can see that this man has been opened up. Soft drink, please, bro.
So something's been covered up here.
Oh, sorry, what was that, Em?
Something's been covered up here because this man's been opened up. They know that heart is intact.
Having a look at the coroner's report, all 4 of these coroner's reports were signed by the same doctor.
Okay?
The name is... Thank you. The name on them is... Sorry, I had that for a second. Dr. Durga...
How am I spelling this?
Durgha. Typical
Oh,
dwarf.
I nearly had it. Nearly had it.
Okay.
Durga Quinn.
Dr. Quinn.
Durga, Ducky.
Is she a
Scottish.
medicine woman?
They're a dwarf.
So I'll be having a word with them when I'm finished up here.
Stern words, one would hope, with a pop of an eyebrow, no doubt.
Next.
2 more to check.
Next body.
The next body, in accordance with when they died, you know from usual methods that the documenting system is by death. If they all arrive around the same time, you then do it by time of death recorded.
Okay.
So, the next one is Rachel Trainer, Nee Salem. This is the sister of the Inquisitor who brought you and Aria to this island. This is the Kalashtarian woman.
Okay.
Make me your check.
Got me now.
Got a D8 if you need it as well.
Exactly.
21.
Don't need it.
Do not need that D8. Wow.
19 plus 2, ka-ching.
Ha!
She's
Okay.
on fire tonight.
Holy
And
shit.
actually, hang on, I didn't. Actually, no, it's 24. I forgot to add my medicine proficiency.
This is a great roll. Oh, wait, hold on. It's even better.
Okay.
You felt that?
You can see what she ate before she died. Jeez.
You've read about Kalashtars. You've heard about Kalashtars. You've met 1 or 2 Kalashtar in your past. Typically Kalashtar priests who are coming to attend to bodies of Kalashtar, the dead. Most Kalashtar are from Killarine, the actual island, the actual landmass, not the archipelago. Or you have seen one or two very, very rare Kalashtar of the Nesvitian Empire. The Kalashtar of the Nesvitian Empire are very different to the Kalashtar of Killarine. The Nesvitian Empire Kalashtar are more put together. They typically have runic tattoos, giving them a level of protection from their own spirits, as it were. From what you have read and understand, the Nesvitian Empire goes through a process of vetting the dream spirits that we put into an unborn Kalashtar, so that you don't wind up with a situation of any Kalashtar having issues such as bipolar disorder due to the spirit in their head, or schizophrenia. This woman has none of those tattoos. She is definitely what we refer to as a wild Kalashtar. The dream spirit entering her without any previous ritual or processing. So any spirit would be able to enter her upon her birth. The coroner's report said that she was stabbed, single wound, with a rapier, through the sternum and out through the top of the spine. Now this is an impressive stab wound, and the woman is small enough that you've seen Arya use a rapier. It's not unreasonable to imagine her being able to pull off such a manoeuvre on such a small woman. The problem with that, though, there is no stab wound. There are many slash wounds across her wrists and along her inner thighs. But the wound that definitely killed this woman, it is a jagged slash, most likely performed by an initial incision with a not very sharp blade, then being dragged across the upper sternum. There is no stab wound. There is no... sorry, about here. So just below the rib cage. Think seppuku style. On top of that, there is one other thing about the wound that is surprising, but does not fall in line with the coroner's report, but falls very well in line with Arya's account of what happened. The jagged wound, and when I say jagged, it's almost zigzagging across the stomach, across the top of the stomach below the ribs. At the point where you can, well, you don't even need to imagine, you can guess that this is where the wound ended. There is a massive bruise, most likely from where she landed on her own blade. This is... even a novice coroner would put this to suicide.
That's an interesting way to commit murder.
Quite.
And with a not sharp blade, you were probably right about it being a paper opener. A letter opener, rather.
The last body.
Yes.
The body that was assessed as being the last one to die in the sequence of 4.
And actually, I want to do something with that in a minute. But carry on first with that first.
No, if you have something to do with Rachel's body, please tell me.
To be honest, I just want to verify. I've got that dealing with the dead skill that allows me to assess time of death. If I can, I'd like to do it on all 4 of them.
Oh, I've been
just to make sure that the order of death was.
I've been doing it for you.
The last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why you know that those 2 almost definitely died, or were at least stabbed within milliseconds of each other.
Okay.
They were either stabbed at the same time, or by the time that one of them was stabbed, the blade was already in the other one performing the stab.
So it was kind of...
Yeah. It is impossible to tell which one was stabbed first. That's how close it is.
Even if they were the same race, you'd be hard-pressed.
Exactly. Even if they were the same build, it would be impossible to tell.
Okay.
Last one.
James
Trainer, the lawyer. Young, handsome in his way. Clearly, far too many nights staying up too long, working, studying. But this man is far too young to have died this young. Give me your medicine check. again with advantage, and again with that +2. If you need it, you have the D8 to roll.
21.
It's a good thing she's holding on to that though, because there's a few more things.
Oh.
And I'm saying all of that is within a 10-minute space, because literally you are just scanning these bodies. That is your skill with the dead.
Wrong. Where's this fucking going?
Exactly.
Where's this charlatan calling themselves a doctor?
So, James Traynor. The report again said a single stab wound through the right eye. He still has both his eyes. There's no wounds to his face. There are about 3 dozen slash wounds to the rest of his body, though. Jagged. Fairly obvious to see it was done with the same weapon that finally slayed his wife.
All over the shop.
All over his body. Neck, arms, torso, legs, everywhere. These are the wounds of someone who was cut shallow dozens of times, most likely while trying to stop someone from attacking him.
Frenzy.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was a frenzy and this was defensive.
This man bled out before the final wound took him. And there are so many wounds, bless you by the way, that cover his body so much, it's impossible to tell which wound was the one that did the final blow. Every artery is cut multiple times. Could be from the neck, could be from the arm, could be from the thigh, could be from the ankle. There are that many wounds. This man was slashed. This man was clearly slashed more times when he was on the floor than when he was standing.
To stab someone in the ankle, you've got to be kneeling over the body, more or less.
Exactly.
The quantity of blood in that.
This,
Oh.
yeah,
He's literally been minced.
that implies to me some kind of frenzy, some kind of rage. That as you say, he'd gone down. He was on the floor. He was not attacking, and they kept going.
The last thing of the severe... Clearly, the only part of the coroner's report that was done correctly was Grelog Borg.
I'm saying they were all dead.
Yeah.
Have we got the names right? Are you sure these are the right bodies? Because this is not what we have got written down.
The body of James Traynor and the body of Rachel Traynor, the order of death is completely incorrect. James Traynor died actually around the same time as Grelog and Johan. Around the same time in the morning. Rachel probably died about an hour later. When I run murder mystery, I run it hard.
D&D. I keep waiting for
Right.
Alright.
Put on some sunglasses and say something witty but callous.
Which one are we? What's the weather like?
Well,
Is it sunny or rainy?
Alright, Muli.
Because then we'd see us on you.
right. Snap my fingers at one of the coroners.
Human
Which of you? Hang on. Which of you is Durga Quinn?
She's on her break at the moment. She's in the back room.
Oh,
And
she's...
you're pointed in the right direction.
Okay.
Right, Mooly's about to go Mooly.
You can hear an eyebrow raise at the sides.
Back room, please.
You find the back room, clearly marked staff. Opening the door. How do you want to open the door? Casually or...
But one does not do something like that, so I'm not crude. I am just going to open the door.
Okay. You open the door.
To make sure it creaks.
Give me a charisma roll.
Have you got thaumaturgy? Because if you have, you can do that.
Anybody provide?
Spray
Yes, I do, don't I?
You do.
Use thaumaturgy, make the door creak with that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to use thaumaturgy and just make the door creak open, not even going to touch it.
Not only do you open the door with a creak, it opens on its own.
proper coffee.
Eyebrow already up.
Oh.
Everyone is looking. That door hasn't creaked in years. Everyone in the room is looking. There are about 4 people within. 1 dwarf, 3 humans.
The Quinn, please.
Give me an intimidation check with advantage.
It's off your appointment.
It's still with my +2 as well.
You are still surrounded by corpses, aren't you?
Oh.
You've also still got that D8. It's not been used yet.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a good thing because I need that.
I don't have a time limit on them anymore.
Oh no, they don't.
22.
Is that with the bardic inspiration?
Yeah.
You feel the initial intimidation hit the room, and then you just feel that little surge, that almost pink essence that's a little bit nerve-shattering, but not necessarily unwelcome in this moment. And the 3 humans fucking run. They're out. They're gone. They close the door behind them. There is this one dwarf, plain as you can imagine, sat in her chair, sandwich half to her mouth, going, "Hi."
Good afternoon. This coroner's report.
She sees.
Well, they're all dead, I'll give you that much.
Yes.
I love you so much right now.
Just that line, give me another intimidation with advantage, and yes, you still have that +2.
Nice.
This girl's gonna need ointment.
Nat 20.
Yes!
Kill her! Kill her with your mind! Make her commit suicide out of terror.
She's just plopped. Not far. She is definitely going to need a change of trolleys. I can't get into this. Genuinely, as you were talking to her, the robes of the coroners hides all sins, but not that growing wet stain at her crotch.
Oh.
She just...
Well?
She doesn't know what to say. It's like, they paid me. They paid me a lot.
Did they pay you? Was it worth someone's life?
Cool. No, definitely
How
not.
much is someone's life worth? Tell me.
500 platinum.
I think I've got more than that on me.
500 platinum is about 5,000 gold.
No, I haven't then. No, I have.
Oh.
I've got about 4,000.
Who paid you?
Thought that 20. Give me another intimidation with advantage. Purely because she rolled well on that.
The fear of them is almost as much as the fear of you.
Let's see which one's more present.
I'm here.
22.
Oh, I feel sorry for this one, but no, I fucking don't.
Fuck that bitch. This is Russia.
Russia. Hey.
She just kind of looks around. It's like, will I be asked to testify, or just will I be asked to admit, or can I just give you a name and that's it?
I think that smile answers that question.
Yeah.
You think?
Oh.
How about I write something and then I go for a nice long holiday in the mountains? Would that be alright?
Write something. Signature. Matches this.
Absolutely. And just for the next 10 minutes, she writes a stack of papers about 5 inches thick. I mean, she has to cross so much out, she's so fucking scared. But there it is, and there are the actual coroner's reports. She presents the real ones, signed by her, right in front of you with everything that you have assessed. Everything that you know, fully documented in front of you.
Gets to date it as well.
It's all dated, it's all
Alright.
it's all there. This is... You can't get much better than a crit pass on intimidation.
And the names of the people that paid her.
Yes.
And they're also, I'm guessing.
There is one name. One name of who paid her.
Mm-hmm.
Inquisitor Salem.
Told you.
Well.
Oh. You froze for a second
Oh,
there.
Inquisitor Salem, haven't you been a naughty boy? Right. Oh, sorry.
Can I go?
Someone's been bad boy. Yes, leave before I change my mind.
The second you say go, she is out the door. She is gone. There is a fucking dwarf-shaped hole in the wall.
You've never seen a dwarf move that fast, Russ,
Oh.
apart from when it got dropped on our heads all fired out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Those two.
Or when there's the word mention of bar brawl.
They were
Oh,
quite quick at the
blueberries,
mention of bar brawls.
It's all there. It is signed, documented. It's practically tied up in a bow.
The might of the eyebrows strikes again.
Didn't even use the artifact.
No. I shall return.
No, you didn't use the artifact, you just used the eyebrow.
Right. A productive afternoon, I think.
Very well.
Hilarious, since it's only lunchtime.
By the, time
Don't tell me what to think.
by the time I've got back with the snacks, you'll have cracked the case. Pretty
So-
much has.
Heading back out, you meet back up with Aria, and the two of you... Actually, it's the two of you at the moment.
Well, I found out the name of some... I found out that Inquisitor Salem, obviously being Rachel's brother, definitely a conflict of interest. If I can find a name of a High Inquisitor, we might be able to get him taken off the case, which is something. And I found out that Paula Schmitty is the one who's trying to do all of this to me.
Well, I've had words. And Inquisitor Salem has more. May have rather bigger issues on his plate than a conflict of interest.
What?
Those coroner's reports were entirely wrong. A first-year medical student wouldn't have made those mistakes.
Does it prove what I said is
Could have
true?
fucking got a better, done a better job.
I can do better than that. That coroner was paid off. And guess who by?
The only two names that leap to mind are Paula or Inquisitor Salem?
There we go.
Why him? I've done nothing to... I believe you absolutely. I mean, I don't understand why.
Rachel's his sister.
But I didn't do anything to... I've never... Honestly, until that day, I'd never even met Rachel.
Well, that's the other thing. Read, if you will read this part here about how Rachel actually died. There was no stab wound. That is an interesting way for that. I've seen you in battle. That is a very interesting way to commit murder, I must say.
I couldn't do... You
The
know,
coroner's report actually says suicide.
you can't kill someone by suicide. That's the fundamental... Would I remember anything James told me about his wife?
He never talked about her.
James never even spoke about her, I just knew he was married.
Oh God, is this a mad woman in the attic situation?
The only thing he ever said about his wife that you recall is that she basically had very much no libido. She had no proclivity towards sexual activity, which is why he came to you in the first place.
All I knew about her was something rather personal and private about her, I'm afraid, but it's sort of the reason why James was coming to me.
Ah, no libido.
No.
Yeah, to be honest, that's obvious by what she's saying.
I was trying to be diplomatic about the dead.
I'm not.
No, she just.
All right, he told me the last time she touched it was on their wedding night, and that's how they conceived their son.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
She seemed to think her wifely duties were done at that point.
Well. Now, what interests me is this. Now, you may find this upsetting, but I think you do need to know this order of death was entirely wrong. James died at about the same time as the other two, and both of his eyes were still there.
They said the original one said that he'd been stabbed in the eye.
Yes, it did. As I say, first-year medical student.
Fucking
By
shit.
which I mean paid off coroner. Now,
All of this, by the way, Muli, what you're saying, this is when you two rejoin. All of you are together for
I've
this assessment.
had that little bit of naughty thought.
Can we just get through Muli first, and then we'll get to that?
It was just on the way to.
Not a problem.
We can back to it.
flash wounds all over him. Not even I could tell which one did it, but that is how he died. He bled out.
I should have asked Stella. I've just remembered I should have asked Stella what she did with the clothes she took from me. That's more evidence. I know it'll have their blood all over them, but it will. You might be able to. You were already sensible to think that thing with the shoes. Maybe that. Do you think I could run back in and do that? You fill the boys in, and I can run back in and ask her what she did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I've had words.
What did you find? What did
I
you
can
discover?
tell by the smile on your face that you're in quite a positive mood.
Just,
I haven't even set fire to anyone today yet.
just hang fire for 1 second.
Yeah.
Right, you had something that you wanted to discuss on the way to the meeting with everyone else.
We went out and got snacks.
Yes, you did.
I got enough snacks for the guards.
Give me...
Now, all it says on my notes, I could be wrong. Do I have to cook for them or do I just have to feed them?
You just have to feed them.
Well, every guard in the building's had a pie.
Give me a persuasion check first.
Now, this is where it all goes tits up.
Graded success is how many have eaten it, or how many have accepted.
I don't have persuasion.
Do you not even have it as a...
No skill, and I've got no charisma
You've got no
bonus.
charisma bonus, no. Okay, roll the dice.
5.
Not many of them have eaten it, but a few.
Got a few on side.
Exactly. To be honest, there are very few guards that are going to not accept food from a...
Well, I've got the amulet out, and I'm
Actually, that's
blessing in
true.
the name of the goddess.
Give me advantage then.
But this is kind of why I want to chip in. I'm really sorry, but I've gone with him.
Nat 20.
My Fey voice, intimidation to men. Now I'm being sweet to them, but because of my voice,
Eat the pie.
eat the pie.
Okay, your persuasion got your crit pass with advantage. You give me advantage on an intimidation check for any of the ones that weren't looking as happy about taking the pies. Or whatever it was that you bought.
Just general snacks, nibbles, pasties. You've
dump-
basically got a tray.
Dump about 20 gold.
Okay, no problem. It
Not-
will pay us back.
Not as great as I want to be, but I'll also... 11.
All the ones that weren't persuaded to eat by Breslin were definitely intimidated to eat by Lenny.
Go on, you know you want to have the bit.
It's a very weird intimidation, actually. They feel like they're being flirted with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take the fucking sweetie. He is fucking no.
No,
That's been a problem.
I
Billy Connolly
will
flashback.
make note of that.
So basically, all the guards in the guardhouse today are now. I've got a charisma bonus.
As far as they're concerned, you have a charisma score of 14.
It says +2, but threw him off.
That's what a 14 would be. That's a +2.
No, mine's charisma's 10.
Yeah. So you get a +2
Oh,
bonus.
get +2, so my charisma started be 14. Right, gotcha.
As far as they're concerned, you have a charisma stat of 14.
I'm happy to not roleplay it out, but yeah, basically go ask Stella where she put my clothes that I gave
No,
her.
I have a scene for that.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay, Muli,
Sorry.
please fill in the
Anyway.
noise.
I've had words.
You look
Yes.
very triumphant with your findings. What did you discover?
I've had a very good day and I haven't even set anyone on fire yet. Now,
Although you
Yes.
attempted.
Fucking teapoint.
Mentally, though, she probably burned a hole in someone.
our errors, gentlemen. Now, something of a novel experience for Aria. She was right about the woman. She did commit suicide.
Bet you're glad she's not here.
That's something.
Well, that's one major point.
Mm-hmm.
Grelog, his report, broadly speaking, was correct. That is about as far as it goes. As far as the other three go, they're dead. That's about all they got right. Johan was not stabbed through the heart.
Hmm?
Through the sternum and through the spine.
That takes some force.
Ouch!
Mhm.
That's gonna hurt.
Mine, it was a half orc, so.
That's very short.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that in and of itself does not... Well, no, it does concern me. That in and of itself is not particularly relevant to me. We witnesses have said that they killed each other. That is not relevant. But it does raise the question, they got that wrong. What else did they get wrong? Rachel! Slash wounds to the wrists and thighs, jagged slash wound across the upper sternum, and a bruise from where she landed on the blade.
So not a single rapier wound to the heart.
No stab wound at all.
Just.
And that was not a sharp knife. That was not a device.
That statement, Lenny, actually both of you give me a intelligence roll where you can add your cooking. If you don't, basically intelligence roll with proficiency because of cooking utensils. You are proficient with blacksmith tools, correct?
I am indeed.
And you have advantage when it comes down to metallurgy, correct?
Yep.
Right, it just says cook's proficiency, but I've been using either sleight of hand or medicine for the rolls.
So what's your intelligence modifier?
0.
Okay, so you'll be adding a +3 to whatever you roll, and you can have this at base, you at advantage.
So.
Again, it's an intelligence roll +3.
Right, the +3 is for the
Wow,
cook's
plus
proficiency.
Yeah.
17.
Thank God for the advantage. 22.
Okay. The second that Muli says that, you two have worked with blunt instruments before. Of course, you've sharpened up blunt knives or had them grindstone out to be usable for razor-sharp cooking.
Yeah.
For...
Given a blunt knife, and it's like, you couldn't cook milk with that. Get it?
Exactly, yeah. You have likewise worked with this. You have worked with blunt tools and resharpened them. A jagged wound, you're talking about something that has a sharp point, but no edge.
And so the point goes in and then the rest just rips.
It takes a lot of force or twice as much determination to do something like that.
In other words, that is going to be more painful than just a straightforward, sharp, clean stab. Oh!
That must really hurt.
This is someone who wanted to die and wanted to make it look bad.
Out of our peaks, I'm really sorry,
Yeah.
because obviously being sensitive, Lenny's characteristics, I want to make a constitution saving roll at this, because this is a bit fucked up for me.
Hell yeah! I like it when you guys ask me to make saving throws against something you know. Like you when you see something with fire, and you when you see something that's a bit gross. Absolutely.
+5, 18.
So you feel a bit, oh, that's awful.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay,
Anyway.
back in the room.
Stabbed 24 times with a blunt knife and commit suicide with a
Not stabbed, slashed.
And the fact that there were wounds on the arms and the thighs and... just...
Muli.
Actually, sorry, it didn't occur to me at the time. Would I have been able to tell how were all of the slash wounds on Rachel done at around the same time?
No, the wounds on the arms and inner thighs, they are
old
wounds. They had scarred. A few were fresher at time of death, maybe done the day before, but most had scar. We are talking about self-harm wounds.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
God, I'm gonna have to put a fucking
trigger warning.
Yeah, you're going to need to put trigger warnings on this one.
This episode is brought to you by My Chemical Romance. It's the emo brigade.
Oh.
Settling bitches, it's getting fucked up.
Like I said, when I run these, I run them hard. Okay,
Lenny's
Muli.
hairstyle drastically changes.
Now, James, this is the interesting part. James did not die within moments of Rachel. James died about an hour earlier, around the same time as Grelog and Johan. James, single stab wound to the eye. Yes, that's what we were told.
That's what we were told.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of someone with experience, with unique experience in this area, he had both of his eyes.
Wait, what?
Okay. So he wasn't stabbed through the eye then?
He was not stabbed through the eye. There were no stab wounds at all, no facial wounds.
Someone's obviously not doing their job properly when it comes to filing reports.
His whole... Oh, and I've seen to that, so don't you worry. I'm coming to that.
I think she's saving the best till last.
Right, okay. I won't spoil it then.
His whole body covered in slash wounds. The whole body, down to ankles. This was a frenzy. This was frenzy and defensive wounds. He bled out.
So
Long
he
before that-
started off defending himself and eventually he collapsed and they carried on.
that explains all the blood.
In fact, he bled out long before the final blow was struck.
So, are you saying in that frenzy she must have caused lacerations to herself first? Possibly.
No, I
but
think that...
him first and then?
Oh, she stabbed herself. She stabbed herself around an hour later, when Aria was there to see it. Now, this is where we come to the interesting part. There are rather a lot of mistakes there, aren't there, gentlemen?
Well, I was going to say, if that's not the interesting part, this piece has got to be golden.
So I found the coroner who filed that report, and I had words, and they were paid off. As it turns out, someone seems to think that Aria's life is worth 500 platinum. I'm less convinced. And that someone is Inquisitor Salem.
I choose to take that as a
Inquisitor
compliment.
Salem paid the coroner to file the false reports.
And here's a correct
He
one.
wants someone to blame for his sister's death, doesn't he? Anyone will do.
Aria's the scapegoat.
Aria is the person he blames, so the family think he's done his... I think you have just blown this entire thing out of the water. I think Aria is halfway out the door at this point.
You
have nailed it. Have a pie.
You and that eyebrow. You and that amazing eyebrow. Good God.
Like I said, I bought snacks. You've earned yours.
Yeah.
Here's a pie and a glass of a bottle of a jug of mead, or what her chosen favourite is. I should know that by now.
Yeah, you'd know. I think it's red wine, isn't it, from Muli?
Black rum.
Black rum. Yes, that's right.
Good choice.
Small bottle of Kraken and a couple of pasties.
Yeah.
You've earned them, girl.
It's
Well
a,
Yes,
done.
I have.
Good
Is it-
pasties, not Greg's pasties,
No.
nice pasties.
It's a D&D.
Proper ones from the
It is
pastisserie.
weirdly, strangely, it is actually called Kraken Rum on the Archipelago.
Is it?
I mean, you're talking about an archipelago where at least 3 Kraken actually live.
Wow. Were they made with essence of Kraken?
No, they just got a picture of it on the bottle. And it's
They
basically
might have some
Who's going to
Kraken
kill a
ink.
kraken and squeeze the rum out of it?
You might use the ink, the cochineal, to make it really dark.
Ooh. Okay,
Anyway.
with that sequence ended there,
At
I
the same time,
think-
I'll run back down to the dungeon.
you have.
You've just pretty much blown this thing open.
Those were some spectacular rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jenny,
Yes.
Aria heads back down. Bit of a madder dash than before. It's a good thing you had a second pair of shoes, to be honest. Heading in, the guards still looking like they can't be asked.
I'm really sorry, gentlemen.
Whatever. One of them leads you down. They don't mind taking you, at least it's something to break up their dreary day. I mean, you're talking about a place the majority of criminals held here are going to be like tax doctors.
Plus they're all pied up.
They are indeed all plied up, yes. You actually interrupt one, was halfway through a pie, but it's like, yeah, well. Take you back to
Amazing apple
Stella.
pie, I guess it was.
Stella, I'm so sorry to disturb you again.
It's alright, wrong.
When I came to your house, I asked for a change of clothes because I was
Yes.
covered in blood. I needed... Do you know what happened to the original set?
Talking about almost half a month ago.
I know.
If they'll be anywhere, they'll be at my house.
At your house.
I don't know after that, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Laundry room?
Most likely, yes.
Thank you so much. Are the girls there?
They will be, yes. They'll be with their mother. Their grandmother, sorry.
You're their mother.
I know. Shut up. Look, I have gotten...
So I've been drinking quite heavily.
I'm at this point used to whenever I talk to Jenny talking as two gay men at this point.
No, she's got one of them.
Ah.
So she can be in the cell with her son and at home with her daughters.
Ah. Okay.
Which one's the shadow? That's the question.
All right. And is there anything at all I can do to make this more comfortable for you?
Get it out.
Already working on that.
Great.
My friend's already found out that coroner's report was... Oh, sorry, I'm going to use bad language. It was a huge pile of shit, dear. Cover your ears, Jonathan. Oh, too late now.
Yeah. He's chuckling.
I didn't say that.
No.
What did I not say?
Pile of shit, Auntie Aria.
Good boy.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah, going and rejoining and just...
The whole party's back together.
She says that the clothes I was wearing that day are probably at her house, so if we could stop by there, that would be helpful.
No, so, your house, her house, the trailer's
Her house.
house.
I think it might be worth trying to find Rodolfo as well, because frankly, if Muli can intimidate a coroner into this, then she could certainly intimidate a pianist who wasn't actually all
Might
that
not
good.
even need to intimidate him.
True.
Just
Maybe,
put the evidence in front of him and say, when the truth comes out, do you really want to be on the wrong side of it?
Mm-hmm.
And I do.
Because you are very much on the wrong side of it right now, young man.
And I would like to try and find a lizard folk lady at the docks because she knows a High Inquisitor. We might be able to get Inquisitor Salem thrown off this case.
Well, I think getting in touch with a very high Inquisitor might be very useful at this point, considering what he's just done.
Get him thrown off this case and into a
Get him
cell, I
thrown-
think.
Yes.
As
Get him thrown in
a
shackles.
thought, actually, could Freslin and Muli give me an intelligence roll? If you have proficiency with history, you may add that.
Fuck that one.
Wow, your luck held out for your scene.
6.
I will give Freslin advantage. Actually, I'll give both of you advantage on that one because this is something that does fall in line with your backstories.
Still.
In that case, 15.
15. Okay. Purely because with Muli's backstory, obviously working in a law field, you would have met Inquisitors in the past. Freslin, I gave you advantage because...
I've fed a few.
You will have met a few. There was probably one on the ship that went down, to be honest. Muli. The Inquisitors... Oh no, sorry.
Unless you happen to know a High Inquisitor's name.
You don't know a High Inquisitor's name. You know of the Inquisitors. You would have learnt about them when you were doing your medical training. Basically, the Inquisitors are, for want of a better word, the secret police of the Archipelago. They originally formed as one of the leading factions of the Killerine Wars. Now, I have mentioned previously, Killerine, the actual continent, is in a constant state of war since the ruling family died about 500 years ago, creating a power vacuum where nations rise and fall every 5 minutes.
More often than Aria's knickers.
Oh! Yes! And basically, because of this, it's just creating absolute chaos for the actual landmass. The only place unaffected by the wars is the Archipelago. Now, the Inquisitors were an attempt to create some kind of lawful order among the warring factions. But in the end, they gave up on the mainland, moving instead to the Archipelago, becoming sort of like the CIA or FBI. They govern the major rules. They actually transcend judicial orders.
I've never read that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Alright. You will have met a couple of Inquisitors in the past, usually very noble and upstanding men and women who uphold the law further instead of upholding personal belief. Many really do believe that personal isn't the same as important. you may have met one that does not follow that belief.
He is definitely.
We're about to meet another.
Secondarily, that was actually quite a good roll, Muli. This is not a typical crime that the Inquisitors would get involved in. The Inquisitors do not get involved in a mild serial killing at best. Because that's... If Aria is...
More of a spree, really.
Spree, yeah, this is a spree killing.
In an hour.
4 deaths in an hour. It's a spree killing.
It's a spree killing. That's a personal thing. They would deal with someone who has murdered multiple people across multiple islands if they were going to deal with a murderer.
Or someone who's been murdered multiple times.
Exactly. Genuinely, actually, yeah, it happens.
That's the 4th time that bastard's killed me. I want him sorted.
The Inquisitors would get involved in truly reprehensible crimes that could actually harm the archipelago as a whole.
Like the
Not
slaughter of towns, or regicide, or genocide, or
If you wanna-
religious
yeah.
persecutions. Of...
If you want to talk to someone who might be interested in something to do with the Order of Five Heads, the member that this dragonborn thing that is killing entire islands that you have been a bit interested in, or the things happening with the Blackened Hunters, the Inquisitors may be interested in that, not a sudden spree killing by a single woman.
Yeah, a 4-person spree killing based on sex. It's kind of a bit path.
Thinking about it, is this not rather a small-time case for an Inquisitor?
So he's only.
This is practically tabloid material. What's he involving himself for?
Exactly.
Personal family matters.
Inquisitors in cloak division, but good.
Rachel was his sister. Hang on, they've done
I
a
was kind of
report?
thinking cloak division dark finders.
They've done a report saying Rachel was in good health. You said she'd got self-harm wounds all over herself.
Yes, I did.
She wasn't in good health then.
Well, that's probably part of the same fudged report by Dr.
By Dr. Quinn, yes.
Oh, Quinn.
Well, the report says that she was of sound mind and body. That wasn't a medical report. That was a letter from the Salem family as a whole, namely by the head of the Salem family, Inquisitor
Salem.
So he's basically said she's of sound mind and body, even though she's a basket case who's self-harming and went postal on her husband.
He's an absolutely reprehensible man.
Now, we're of course on the Baron's party plays, not trying to insinuate at all that someone of psychiatric issues may be, of course, a bad person.
Honestly, in character, I was about to say he's absolutely reprehensible for not getting his sister help.
He's absolutely reprehensible, and he was clearly damaged.
Very ill.
Very ill indeed.
Sorry, I just wanted to go a little bit BBC on that.
Yeah.
So,
Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
So, then, what
I'm
we're
enjoying this one.
doing next?
Well, I hope your stress levels have just dropped. By the way, have a pie. Cookies, rum, wine. We got snacks.
Why haven't I got cookies?
Because you haven't finished your pie.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
She hasn't finished her pie either. I want... Thank you.
Muli, in the space of the time it took us to go for a munchies run, has blown the doors off this thing. There is so much right there that this entire case has been brought into question already.
Then let's just.
You
keep
are
adding to
already
it.
1 foot out the door, lady. So,
If anyone's interested, I have...
very upsetting for you, and I can try to understand. I don't, but I try. You are in a much better place right now than you were an hour ago. We are making real progress. Like we said, take each piece of evidence and pick it apart. She's just taken the biggest piece of evidence and ripped it apart.
Then.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
So
on.
we're already
Sorry.
on track.
Muli?
was going to say, if anyone's interested, I also have a copy of the new correct coroner's report, signed off by the original coroner, only slightly urine stained, and dated.
Keep both copies.
Keep both, absolutely, because no one else has a copy of the correct report now.
Oh, I intend to.
Could you
And
make...
that correct report matches your findings.
Yes.
Marvellous.
Muli, would you make me an intelligence roll?
I would.
Or an insight roll of your choice?
It doesn't matter either way. 7.
It's alright. Do as you will.
I think let's keep adding to the evidence that
Yes.
proves that not only am I very innocent, but so is Stella. I do not want her and her little boy in there any longer than they
Not
have to
only
be.
are we proving that you two are very, very innocent, but we are proving the Inquisitor is very guilty.
I also... Stella said to me that the woman, Paula Schmitty, Johann's wife, she's one of the ones who's basically told this whole web of lies. She
Yep.
seems to have it out for me, and even Stella didn't really know why.
That's why we need to go to your place, because if we can find the contract you signed with Johann that Paula also signed, then her saying you've snuck into her family and torn them apart is torn apart because she signed off on knowing about it in advance. That is another big piece of the puzzle.
It wasn't exactly that she will have signed it. It says in the contract that all parties involved have to have been informed about it, otherwise I don't know if she would have signed it or not. I'm afraid
We'll find that out.
Well, at least the contract's there where it says it's known.
everyone
So then
everyone
if
involved is
she
supposed
didn't
to
know, it's on him, not you.
Exactly.
Because that was his responsibility.
So-
And again, that's another plank of
Next.
their case torn down and another plank of our case built up.
The next question becomes, and perhaps this is academic until we've proven your absolute innocence, but this is perhaps this is perhaps peripheral to the whole thing. My next question becomes: are Paula and Salem were they conspiring, and if so, why against you?
It could also perhaps launch into a counter argument when you think about it in court, raise another case. The other point I just want to make.
Give me... Oh, sorry, very quick. Give me an intelligence saving throw. Lenny.
13.
Yeah, what you're saying is okay, no worries. Sorry, what
Sorry,
I just
Dudley,
made you
what were you
roll
saying?
for was, would Lenny understand any of what he's currently saying?
Ah.
Yes, you do. You saw enough tribal courts. Yes, you're fine.
What were you saying,
Whilst
Duds?
It was-
talking to the gods,
it was just
One
more-
sec.
I know. No, I'm not going to say it's Lenny because I'm just
No.
going to say it
No.
straight out.
Go for it, go.
It's just more of the case of the fact is as well, if we can still pick at some of the evidence, as I was thinking about talking to those who witnessed the duel, the more questionable evidence that's then brought to the court will then incite more, perhaps possible need for investigation, which could then lead to a counter-argument where perhaps another investigation might take place.
Do you want to go slow? Oh, you with me.
Actually, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, the light's glaring from the fridge, and it looks like you opened a door to heaven or something.
I've never played Asimar in my life, and anyone that says otherwise is a liar.
Asimar's a fridge. Anyway,
Asimov.
So then,
but yeah,
Sorry.
that was the point I wanted to make before I made the
Yes. The
saving
more
throw.
we can pick their argument apart and put forward a counter argument or even just questions, the more
Just reasonable doubt would be enough.
reasonable doubt, exactly. Also, it comes to a point where we've already blown apart the main key evidence.
You're
Well,
not leading
she's
into my
blown
house
apart the
while
main
this
key
conversation
Here's
evidence.
another thing, depending how things go, if the evidence is more questionable, they might have to then actually dismiss the case, but not as in fully, but put it on hold until there's more evidence, which
They'd
might
have
buy
to
more time
completely
for Aria.
investigate the whole thing from the beginning
Hmm.
with proper.
Muli with advantage, are base, Freslin with disadvantage. Intelligence.
16.
3.
Well, yeah,
16,
nice.
16 and 18
That's
are
not how
rolled.
courts
very
here
good.
work, is it?
It is not. If
Ah.
this case does not have a clear criminal to be punished by the end of the 3-day parameter that you guys started with the return of primary suspect.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Not exactly. If there is no provable guilty party by the end of the 3 days, the court will just hear this as an unfortunate accident.
So it'll just be dismissed.
Yeah, all you actually have to do is they have to prove that Aria did it. All you have to do is prove that Aria may not have done it.
Which we've already proven.
We've got this coroner's report that proves that.
Well, she can't have killed James at the same time as egging Johan and Grelog on to kill him.
Exactly.
So
And
already that's one.
And yeah, Grelog and Johan, we have witnesses to prove that they killed each other. She can't have been there and killing James at the same time. And Rachel, we know, killed herself.
Right, so basically we've already got enough for us to believe. We already believe, but now we've got enough for us to prove to ourselves. The problem is that Inquisitor. If we can't get him out of the way, he's just going to steamroll us.
Okay, so during all of that conversation, this was on the way to Aria's old home, the street that she lived here for, I believe it was just 8 months?
Yeah, just a little over half a year, yeah.
Yep. The street is beautiful. The houses here, immaculate. They are massive, everyone. The smallest house you would call here a mini mansion. Freslin, you have seen a few areas like this in your time. You've worked in a few for that matter. Muli, you've read about areas like this. Now, the place that you lived and worked was a bit more built up. It wasn't as... It was wealthy, but it was the kind of wealthy of yuppie nouveau riche. It wasn't old families that could afford massive estates. Aria. Again, where you're from, they didn't really have houses like this. The houses where you were from were beautiful, nice, lovely gardens, but no one needed a house this big.
But I recognise this place.
Yeah, but I mean, back on Eptrack V.
Oh, yes, obviously.
Yeah, so even by your standards, this was a bit...
That's why you bought it, because it was...
Yeah.
I didn't buy it, dear. They bought it for me.
You find the house...
Maybe you chose it.
You find the house that you lived in for 8 months, that you held parties, that you left from. The house still looks like it's mostly functioning, running. You can see people going in and out for the most part. A few guards clearly running checks, but for the most part it's just staff.
Someone hasn't been watering my lilac trees.
The street is much the same. All the houses here, large, wealthy. I'll give it to the table.
Just going to walk up the front driveway, which I assume is palatial.
I want to have a look around for any evidence of worship, any evidence of this demonic... Oh God, what was the name?
Yeah.
Fiera.
I'm going to go looking around for some Fiona paraphernalia.
Yeah, the bro.
Once we get inside, I'm going to hit the Divine Sense.
Okay.
I'm just going
Would Fiona count as a fiend?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, anything, as we're moving through the house,
Yeah.
if
we'll get
anything
that,
to
don't
do
worry.
with a 60 feet ping.
Yeah. Lenny?
I'm just going to start asking the locals if they witnessed it all and just so they can give me an account of the events.
So you're going to the neighbours, the three of you are all going to the house. Absolutely fine, we'll run this slight separate party then. So, as you walk into the house, you're initially stopped, but showing the search warrants, the three of you are let inside. Staff members see you come in, faces pale at the sight of you, and many of them dart into side rooms.
No, I don't think so, dears.
Give me a...
Back here now.
Ooh. Give me a charisma with advantage.
Charisma or intimidation?
You intimidation with advantage from Muli.
Nice.
That's a 17.
Okay.
Line up, please.
Many do. Some do not. Some
Any
make
that
a
don't.
run for it.
You here now! pointing at him with the fork.
You give me a secondary intimidation check with advantage. Or because of what Muli did and you screaming at them with a fucking trident.
13 on the dice. I don't have intimidation, so 13.
13 on the dice. About 10 staff members, 7 maids, 3 footmen. You recognise all of them, but none of them by name. You didn't really spend much time here. You stayed here, but it was just somewhere to stop.
Somewhere to store your stuff.
Exactly.
Well, dears, I'm back.
Every last one of them looks fucking terrified.
It's alright. It's alright. I'm only a little bit angry. Very, very much love to know which one of you, or indeed, if it's all of you, hates me so much that you would tell nasty little lies about me.
Tonk. Basically, at the end of every sentence, tapping this butt of a spear on the, I'm presuming, stone floor.
Basically,
or tile
yeah.
floor. So,
Eyebrow has not returned to a level position since we entered the house.
Absolutely fine. You give me
since
intimidation.
The Rock
with advantage.
retired from wrestling.
What did you say, dear?
Aria, give me intimidation with advantage. Muli, give me insight with advantage. Everything you're doing there, it's
17.
bonusing her intimidation, and it's giving her a nice repetition to insight.
Cadence.
Nat 20.
People for you for a change.
Nat.
20
There
from
she goes
Muli.
with those loaded dice.
So, yeah, I swear I haven't weighted those.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I like this.
So
This is going beautifully.
17 on the intimidate and a 20 on the insight then.
Everyone looks scared. Few people look like they're willing to talk. Muli, you know exactly which ones are scared because they think she's a killer, and which ones are scared because they know something they did that they shouldn't have. There are 3. 2 maids, 1 footman. The rest think she is genuinely a killer.
Right.
At one point, I've just got half a dozen of my metal balls in my hand, and I'm just sleight of hand rolling them while I'm doing the tonk, and they can see the sling attached.
Oh, I like it.
Right.
Muli,
Just
I'm going to point out the 3 what have done the talking. I'm going to say, right, you stay. The rest of you out.
The rest of you are just leaving. You're all sacked. Pick up your severance pay at the appropriate places.
they barely hear you. Half of them have just run out. The remaining two maids, younger than the rest, look scared, a little sad to be out of a job, but they're out.
I can't imagine they were doing very much anyway. No one's here.
What's that bit of
You
dust?
3.
Every last one of them is white as a sheet. You have in front of you 3 half-elves.
I'm actually just going to look at Aria. They're all yours.
Dears.
Between these two's help, every persuasion or intimidation check you make when questioning has advantage.
Tonk.
Just lips and move while this goes on.
My dears, I hope I wasn't an unpleasant employer or hard to work for.
Tonk.
They all shake their head rapidly.
Then, oh, so I wasn't. And I hope I've never done anything personally to slight any of you.
3 shake heads at the same time. Faster as soon as he drops that and they see the armor.
It's almost like the Statue of Justice, the giant and the stones. Tonk.
Then I'm going to walk over. I'm assuming there's a chair or something nearby where I could take a sit down, cross legs, do a little look down as if I'm very, very thinking very hard, then look up as I say, then why, my dears, did you choose to lie and say that I was performing demonic rituals? And indeed, eating ungodly foods and keeping ungodly hours?
Give me persuasion with advantage. Because
I've
that
got
is...
everything running at this point.
Oh, yeah, there is nothing demonic besides these 2.
So none of these 3 smell like they're wearing anything pendanty.
Absolutely not. The only demonic sense or undead or anything you are getting is the usual excess from the two tieflings.
Usual undertone of demonry.
Alright, Aria, what did you get?
18.
Tonk.
Okie dokie then. The three of them. Let's make a few rolls. Yeah. Well, that's just fucking funny. All three of them drop to their knees, cowering, grovelling, terrified. The older of the older three, the man goes, "We're so sorry. They offered us so much. There was more than we'd make in our lifetimes. They just told us to sign something, put paper in front of us. They just told us to sign it, and that was it."
They.
Well,
They.
yeah.
They. I would like a name.
Who?
Please. Breslin, they're my staff.
And this is mine.
Advantage on your intimidation, thanks to that move. Also, you give me intimidation checks separately.
Advantage or straight?
Base. Just need to check something.
I rolled an 18 and I have +6 to intimidation.
So
24.
Just 8.
you're intimidating, but you are short. It's scary enough to give Aria the advantage.
Yeah, I'm just backing you up.
They.
Yeah. It was two. Okay. So there was a woman, tall, human. She was a human. Wore this big fur coat. She didn't say much. She just kind of handed the paper to the guy. The guy was massive. I think it was a Goliath. Looked like a mercenary.
Long black coat on him by any chance? Wearing...
No.
No?
No.
Does anyone here know what an Inquisitor's coat looks like?
Oh yeah. You've seen the Inquisitors.
So it wasn't him.
No, this guy just looked like a hired mercenary from the docks.
Just a hired mercenary and a woman in a fur coat.
Give me an intelligence check.
Please roll well. 11.
Even in the height of summer, Paula Schmitty wore fur coats.
Paula. So.
I'm changing her name. I'm just putting her as Paula Shitty.
I think we have a conspiracy.
So the things I remember they asked us, they asked about demonic rituals, and they just said something about Fiona, and they gathered some money in front of us, and it was enough to get us all out of service.
And yet you're still here.
Thank you.
How much, out of interest?
Yes, I think I'd like to know how much my life was worth.
100
Yes.
each.
100 what?
100 platinum each.
So 800 altogether. That's apparently how much you're worth. I'm still struggling to believe that.
I am still choosing to take that as a compliment.
So they asked us about like demonic rituals, and they said something about, I don't know the name, just some demonic name, and we just signed it.
Vienna?
It began with an F, yeah.
That would be it.
They asked us about what kind of food you ate, and they made a comment about it. I mean, some of us used to complain about how it smelled, but we didn't really question it because you were from like a seafaring country anyway. So
The fish that I used to eat.
most of the shellfish. It was kind of weird seeing someone with such wealth and everything eating commoner food.
So that I like to eat fish and seafood because that is where I am from and it was familiar and I was homesick. For that you told them demonic food.
Yes.
Would you like any of you to tell us anything else that you said?
They asked us about when you go out, ma'am, and
When I go out?
to the opera or to the spa, and we said that you were never really here, and they seemed to, she seemed happy with that, and
I see very much. Do you think there's anything more we should ask of them, Muli, before we get rid of them?
Yeah.
Define get rid.
Even if they want it 5 arseholes.
Sorry, can you say it again?
Define get rid.
Oh,
Oh no.
I haven't set anyone on fire yet today. It's still on my to-do list.
yes, and I think I could actually go for that, but I think instead what I'm going to do is tell you filth to get out of my house this instant.
One
You
sec.
are sacked, and there is no reference. Get out!
Before you move,
they are literally on their way out and just
Unless any of you want 5 arseholes.
Yes.
Write down what you've just said. Sign it.
Oh yes, do.
If you can't write, I'll cut your hands off. You pixies.
All,
Get it done.
all 3 of
Nice.
them sign everything. Basically, sign letters to the effect of that they falsified their reports about Aria.
Get out my house now.
Now vanish.
You heard the lady.
I'm hungry and she's angry.
Yeah,
Incidentally, I'll never call you a lady again.
they are fucking gone. This party is very good for intimidation.
Another rung broken.
I'm going to go find my safe and see if the contract's still in there, unless they've already broken into that as well.
Good call. I'm going to carry on having a sniff around the place for anything untoward while I've still got my juice flowing.
Muli, are you doing anything at the same time?
And if
I don't think if there's anything else I can be doing. I mean, we've already established there's no actual Fiona stuff going on here.
Sorry, the can split as I crushed it.
No worries. What was that, Muli? Are you doing any, or are you just like taking a bit of a chilled out, enjoying the revelry for a moment?
I can give you a tour if you like.
Notes.
Do you know, I think I might take Aria up on that, but at the same time, I am sort of going to try and keep an eye out for anything that is catching my eye with regards that relates to the case.
Okay, with that being the case,
Front yard, fight.
Yes.
We already know about that.
Muli, while Aria is heading to what was her office room, basically an offshoot of what was probably her bedroom, the pink coloration kind of gives it away. The office.
Camouflage.
The office, meanwhile, basically give me an investigation at advantage.
Yeah, I'll just drop my dice. Come here.
But you own said office, yes, the bedroom very pink, frilly, Barbie's
Yeah.
dream room. Office remarkably sedate.
Yeah, it's actually quite a plain room comparatively, closer to.
More like an actual office as
Yeah.
opposed to a horse
Stained
boudoir.
wooden
Yeah,
and whitewash.
Investigation plus 3, 12.
well, looking around the house, it's very quick to surmise that this whole house, anything of worth or anything of value or anything that may pertain to the investigation has been most likely taken in and impounded by the guard. What property Aria probably left or gifts that she was given, you can see where the dust marks, where paintings or mirrors most likely were. Nothing's there at the moment. The house looks like it's ready to be sold, quite frankly. Aria, you do notice this, but I'm not making you roll because you're used to this. You know this house. You know what's missing.
Honestly, I'm only just stopping at one of the painting places and just going, oh, that one was personal.
I'm just going to spot that there's a. You could see. It's basically you could see that there was basically. Is it that you can see that painting there just because there's a gap in the dust? Basically, is
Yeah.
that right? You know, it's a good thing you've sacked these servants.
I know, they're terrible, aren't they?
Awful.
I don't think they liked me very much. God knows why. I was quite easy to work for.
Mm.
I was barely ever here.
Mm.
I
But
can see where that would be an advantage.
I'm a bit annoyed about that painting. That one was a personal one.
Mhm.
I will be asking for that one back.
Going into your office, you find the safe. Most of the paperwork in here has been left, mostly. It wasn't considered of value, or the office was not considered somewhere worth rooting for, maybe?
Mm.
You're not sure. None of you really know how investigations go. It's not in any of your backgrounds.
I don't know, we've done quite well so far.
Oh yeah, but I mean like official guard investigations. You
Yeah, they go
Very
straight to the
quickly-
kitchen and empty the wine cellar.
You very quickly go through your old files. You find all 4 contracts that would have been signed. One individually, and then one for all 3.
One individually that was for me, saying that I was staying here at the behest of these 2 gentlemen.
Basically what it is, so you had an individual contract with each man,
Ah,
Boom.
and then one for all 3 of them. and the signatures across each one. So the individual ones, it's your name, their name, and the name of Madame Bourlogne.
How about
As the witness.
Mm-hmm.
How about their wives? Or does it just say on
It just states in there that stipulation of these contracts is that all required parties, wives, children over the age of 18, basically anyone in requirement.
anyone to whom it is of concern?
Yes, which is a very extensive list. The work that you did under Madame Bourlogne throughout your...
This was watertight.
Oh, this was legally
Madame Bourlogne
binding.
knew how to cover your back. And
And her
now
own.
And how not to.
covered. Yeah, she also knew how to uncover it when the time was right.
When necessary. The
When paid.
stipulation of what jobs you were expected of each of these men, what each of these men could expect from you, was also written into the contract. Looking back over these, you very quickly realise that James Traynor severely broke his contract even creating that. Even if he had told his wife, his contract is in fact null and void.
Why?
So you were originally hired by him as, for want of a better word, relief of a physical nature due to his wife's failure to provide the duties expected of a young bride. This is fully detailed, everything's there. You remember, actually, there's no stipulation of this contract, whereas with Grelog there is, and Johan for that matter, of what we referred to as the
Extras.
courting experience. The chance to take you out for a meal.
The reason why I'm a courtesan, not a prostitute.
Exactly. For the other two, you were hired as a courtesan. The details of your contract, very nicely written up. Yes, you were there as a prostitute as well, but you were also there as companionship, there for games, there to arrange parties. The full remit of a lady and a hostess, as well as a courtesan. Musician as well. You were hired by both for your musical talents. With James, you were exclusively hired as a prostitute. But towards the end of things, you very quickly remember that things turned more like a relationship. He would invite you out for dinner more often or to the opera.
Muli,
Yes.
I've just reread these, and I'm sure it's not something you're particularly interested in, but in my job I'm hired more as a companion than as physical relief. I've been being physical relief because that gets me a lot of money quickly and I want it off these islands. James Traynor, however, I wasn't hired as a companion at all. I was hired for lying on my back, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't even think of it at the time because I'm so used to doing this for the other two. He started asking me out to the opera and taking me to dinner and all sorts. God, the number of nights where he just wanted to sit and chat with me. God, he was boring. Sorry, I shouldn't speak ill of the dead.
Oh, he was exceptionally boring.
So
Of course he was, he's a lawyer.
His contract would be null and void anyway.
I see.
So he wanted extras without it being contracted.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not there, it's just...
Yeah.
I'm just mulling it over.
Then, Muli, do you think this would lead into why his wife... Because she would have had to have been informed, because it says so in the contract, but...
She'd have had to be informed of the physical affair, but not the emotional one.
Do you think that...
The emotional affair is a violation of contract.
And it is not my fault. He was the one breaking the contract, not me.
Mission slip, they call it in the military. Just out of character.
Yeah.
You go in to do this job, but then this turns up, and slowly you're doing something that you've not actually been sent to do. It's mission slip.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about it at the time, because of course I was already being companionship for Grelog and Johan. It just... At the time, it didn't even occur to me to recheck the contract.
Interesting.
Had gone. There's a lion in the room.
You're right, love.
Yeah, one of those, just because I need to go to the loo.
Okay, so that's that bit. President,
Yes.
We'll do your bit before you go for a smoke.
Okay.
And then we can do Lenny's bit.
Excellent, Smithers.
Perfect, it all lines up quite nicely. So, give me your investigation with advantage while you've got this sense going.
Be nice, one of you whores. 9.
You're only going off your divine sense. You detect the traces of the routes Aria travelled throughout this house. It wasn't...
frequent paths.
There weren't very many. Basically, bedroom, dining room, door. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit in her office. There is a good 3/4 of this house she either never went to, or she went to so infrequently her fiendish demonic essence, there's no trail of it. Other than the background detection of Aria's own glacier demonic energy, and the energy you're currently feeling above you of Aria and Muli upstairs. All fiendish origins share a few similarities, but distinct different ones.
Same nose, but different smell.
Exactly.
Helicopter going around outside.
Cool.
Wasn't me.
So you're used to detecting Aria and Muli now. Aria's essential feeling being of glacier origin is slightly warm, relaxed, almost pulse-like, but the sort of pulse that can be described as the pulse of a serial killer.
So
Calm. Beyond calm.
Slow.
Yeah. Now the reason for that,
Like mine.
the message that you're actually getting through in your head, directed from your goddess to an extent, is that that's because glacier demons are typically the demons of crime, of coercion, of typically garnering towards burglars and thieves.
Sociopaths.
To an extent. Muli, meanwhile, she is of the...
Full-on psycho.
she is of the Balzabul, is that correct, Muli?
Yeah.
Her feeling is much more similar to the typical tieflings you may have met from time to time. Warm, hellish, intimidating, powerful. But where Balzabul and Asmodeus tieflings differ is Balzabuls give this cold sensation. You know from messages from your goddess that a Fianna tiefling or Fianna demonic pathway would be warmingly enticing, like a roaring fire on a cold day.
It's kind of enticing, like
Yeah.
exactly the word you use, but it's attractive.
There is no feeling of that in this house. The only demonic feeling in this house is the two that you're used to. And that is it. Otherwise, in the kitchen, give me a perception check.
I've lost me the sheet. Where has it gone? Where are you, you evil bitch from hell? Sorry, I just... Fianna. I was almost right. Right, perception. And for this roll, I will use my eyes. Mainly. 14.
14. Getting into the kitchen, this is your realm. This is what you are used to. Something you're not used to. It is bare. And not like a good cook after a good night. The drinks cabinet's been raided. What food may have been taken has been
Test
taken.
House Paradiso.
Yeah.
It's been ransacked.
Oh, massively.
Oh my god, she's not moving back in here because I couldn't cook her a fucking piece of toast.
Looking at this...
I bet the oven's even cold.
Yeah. Looking at this, you have seen this twice before. Both times in a restaurant that's unfortunately folded suddenly, where the staff have raided everything.
Those robbing little rats!
Even though they haven't been paid, so they've taken what they're due. In a restaurant.
Little buggers.
Lenny, it
Hello.
is your time to shine.
I am
Okay.
Yeah, you are praying.
praying to the goddess, forgive the chef of this kitchen for allowing this hearth to die.
Yeah. Lenny, you're up. You're outside.
Mhm.
All the houses look quite similar. The one that you've seen your friends go into, you know that's that house. You're not gonna worry about that. You remember from the documents that you were told about, and as Muli has reiterated to you on the way here, that the neighbours all around have signed documents. That means the 2 houses either side and the 3 opposite.
Okay.
You go to the first house.
Can I also ask, before I get to the first house, are there any guards on site?
There are guards around.
Can I ask the guards first
Sure.
before I approach the house? Because the thing I had in mind, Cal, is because there was a lot of witnesses, just to make it time efficient, can I sort of speed run the
Absolutely.
session with rolls? But the questions I've basically had in mind for everyone was basically, what do they see? Who was there? What did they hear? Mention about the fact that people have said that they've heard Arya say, kill them. What did you hear?
You want to
How did you
double
see it?
check on information.
It's basically, yeah, I just literally, everyone introduced myself to you, say that I'm just currently conducting an investigation, just getting witness statements. But I wanted to ask the guards as well, because people said there was a crowd, but I want to know if guards were present as well, because if there was something illegal, why didn't the guards break things up?
Give me 7 rolls.
Mhm.
That's a very
5
good point.
plus 5. No, sorry. 3 persuasion,
Mhm.
4 intimidation.
3 persuasion, 4 intimidation. Any of them going to have advantages or straightforward?
All of them have advantages. You're
Okay.
using intimidation when you see a man, persuasion when you see a woman. And
So-
I need to make note of pass fails for what information you gather.
Okay.
So, come on.
3 persuasion, 4 intimidation, was it?
So, should we do the persuasion first?
Yeah. An advantage. Hang on, let me just get Lenny's stats up real quick.
Basically, at 3 of the houses you go to, it's the lady of the house that comes to talk to you after you ask.
Okay.
And at 2 of the houses, it's the men of the house that comes to talk to you. Meanwhile, the passing guards, they're all men.
Okay, persuasion first. Okay, wow, both of them rolled at 11, so that's 12. The first one.
Okay, next.
Second one, 16.
Okay.
And 15 for that one.
Okay. The information you gain from the women is they're actually a bit more forthright with information with you. Apparently, a woman in a fur coat came to their houses with a Goliath. Asked them what they thought of Arya. Did they have any real opinions of her? Most of them didn't really. They'd seen her around a bit. They didn't really like having a known courtesan around. But she didn't really do anything to really bother anyone. She kind of kept to herself.
Okay.
But when the offer of money was put before them, they were more than happy to sign documents that basically gave bad character witnesses of her.
Right.
The money presented to each was slightly different, but it was always platinum. And the lowest, about 50. The highest to a young woman, Arya's neighbour directly across the road. She only really signed it once the offer about 500 platinum was offered,
Okay.
but they were all paid.
On that note, because I've also got parchment, I ask him to sign my statements. Because I write down the notes.
2 of them do. The other doesn't. She is a bit nervous about this. This is the young woman who took 500 platinum.
That is fine.
She clearly looks ashamed of what she did, but
Mhm.
the money was too good to pass up.
No worries. Yeah, because I wrote down the notes, I confer, I go over, and then I say, right, please sign.
Right, let's do 2 intimidation for the men that come to the door.
And that's 4 of them.
2 intimidation first, and then we do the guards next.
Okay. Intimidation, which...
That's an average.
Oh, thank God for that one. Unfortunately, not a great roll. Gone 8 for that one. Otherwise, I would have had a nat 1.
Okay.
Never mind. Try again. Oh, now they're rolling bad. 8 for the other one. I'm changing dice.
Neither of the men are willing to talk to you. They, when you do start questioning about them, it's like they clearly have rehearsed these questions, and you're getting nothing out of them.
That's fine.
The guards. Now it's up to you. You can intimidate in a friendly way with the guards, or you can attempt to persuade. Intimidation, you have advantage, but you might get in trouble. Persuasion, you get base.
Fey voice is my advantage to intimidate,
It is.
so I'm just going to flirt for intimidation.
There's no crime against flirting with a guard.
Because they are pretty dishy. Come on, I like a man in armour.
Come on, tell me about the worst crime you've seen on this
Yeah.
street.
And just have a chat. Nice weapon. How do you use it?
Okay, give me your 2 rolls.
No, that one.
Can you show me how to use this again? I'm not sure. Okay, come on. Okay, that's much better. I've got a 19 on one of them.
Okay, next.
And then,
Right, Paul.
14 on the other one.
The guards are not as forthcoming as the women were, but one of the pairs of guards do say, yeah, saw what happened that morning. Didn't really take too much concern until they started. You always find nobles fighting, dealing with their problems in stupid ways. But no, we didn't really get involved until one of them stabbed the other, and then turns out the other one had stabbed him as well, and the pink girl was off running and people were screaming and shouting. We just called for the corpse wagon.
Okay, you have been most helpful. Thank you so much, handsome.
That said, one of them does also mention that they don't remember hearing a woman shouting during the fight.
Right. Can I just get you absolute handsome men just to sign there for me? Just
Sure thing.
so thank you.
Yeah, more than happy to.
God, you have big hands.
Weirdly enough, they're feeling positive after being intimidated.
Seriously, we need more men like you.
Intimidated.
So, gentlemen, thank you. Been a pleasure.
Just in case anyone's interested, I've been keeping count of this, taking a mean average of the bribes for the character witnesses and multiplying that by 5. That puts the total paid to the witnesses to nearly 2,000 platinum.
Yeah, I've just been trying to top that up. Someone has been dropping some serious fucking nuggets on this.
If we're all together with Burgers, I can state. I mean, Johan was. I believe he owned either. Was he the admiral or was he the?
He owned ships.
He owned an awful lot of ships. I think he virtually was in charge of all of. The way he spoke, he was in charge of every single ship that came in and out of this island. So I know
Yes,
he'd have to be wealthy to afford me, but.
yes, but unless he was paying off these bribes from beyond the grave.
Paul is his wife, dear. Who do you think inherits?
Yes.
Yeah, well, 500.
I deal with dead bodies. These are details. These are extraneous.
800 to the servants,
Lenny, thank you so much.
neighbours, plus the ones that wouldn't speak.
You're talking about.
There's
upwards.
4,000 platinum.
It's
being dropped
I mean, it was 500 to the coroner,
Yep.
300 to
300
the servants. It was 100. It was 100 to each.
It was, yes.
And then I took about a mean average for the 5 witnesses, about 275 platinum each. That's taking an average of 50 and 500. Multiply that by 5. It's getting on for 2,000.
So all in all, we're looking at best part of 3,000 platinum. Someone's got deep pockets and deeper resentment.
Just to put that in perspective for the entire party, because you have been working in both platinum and gold primarily, let's call it around 2,500 gold, split the average. That is 25,000 gold pieces.
Yeah.
That, by the way, is the same amount that Quincy told you he could get you a fully furnished airship.
It's a pity they've not tried to pay us off.
I've got it. Quincy was
Then
behind it.
Oh God, I hope not.
Maybe we should do a little bit of a shim-sham. Us three go talk to her and say, look, we know you ate Aria'Hiri's guts, we can help you bury her for a price. Take the money and then sack her.
It would certainly prove she's bribing people.
Well, yeah.
Where do we want to go to next? Because we have 3 other houses? No, 2.
2 other houses.
The other crime scene. Muli, did you have a look in the garden where the duel actually fought? Did you see anything new?
Give me a retrospective investigation check with advantage.
At 20. Fucking hell, they're rolling nicely.
I want your dice.
You're not having them.
Emma, at some
Next
point...
time you come to play for real, we're all using your dice.
At some point, you need to roll up a half-orc barbarian. You
Oh,
will be
that
wrecking
many
Join
everything.
me!
That's just wrong.
Well, this thing, a level 7 barbarian, they get that ability that half-orcs get at baseline.
No, play a halfling. With all those nat 20s and no nat 1s,
Yeah.
you'll be an absolute boss monster.
Fuck it. Play a rogue.
These dice have been bitches to me until this session.
Sorry, what was that, Em?
These dice have been bitches to me until this bloody session.
Barbarian.
I know, right? Okay. So, in...
Half halfling, half orc, barbarian.
You don't roll ones and everything hurts.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I've just
Anyway,
wisdom.
That front garden, you saw easily where the blood pools were, where clearly these 2 men bled out. The grass has died from how long it was there. Looking at that, it is clear to see which one bled more, because Grelog, the stab wound to the throat, that's going to bleed a lot. A stab
Carotid.
through basically just bone, that doesn't bleed a lot.
No, the blade of his
fucking hurts though.
Do I need to make some sort of save? Because I know Ari's got a thing about blood.
But there's no blood there.
Oh, okay, just... Yeah.
It's where the grass has died from where the blood has landed.
Nothing we don't already know then.
Basically. It more corroborates the story.
If you want to use that for your post-game references, I think I've got pretty much everything.
Yeah, you're doing well at this.
Where should we go to next? Stella's house, I just need to pick up one item and say hello to the girls.
Is one on the way to the other?
To let the party know, where Stella and the trainer house would be is further into the rich district, further inland. The other place the party needs to go to is the docks, which is closer to where you are now.
Would I also know where where his lodgings were, at least? Because that would probably be near his regular haunts, and then we can narrow down other places we need to go.
He lived near the docks.
So, 2 uptown, 2 downtown. I think, given that Muli is on a streak, we should continue checking the crime scenes and get the picture. We believe what you've told us, but everything
yes.
we can do to prove it.
Yes, absolutely. Destroy their
We
case.
have got so much evidence already. I think if we can get rid of that Inquisitor and get a true Inquisitor in,
All right.
this thing is boxed off.
A little bit of GM input so that the party feels very good about what they've done. For the final fight of what I have planned, the court case, the DC starting range was at 65. You'd have had a DC challenge check of 65 to pass that. Every piece of evidence, everything you find, reduces that DC in the court case. That is the fight that you are leading towards. That 65 DC has currently been dropped to 43. And you have actually found pieces of evidence that I hadn't accounted for.
Let's go to Stella's. I want to get that,
And
because
don't
that's
forget
on
that
route,
bit
yeah?
that I've underlined.
So, yeah. So, Stella
That's such quick
and
stuff as well.
Stella, Johan, and James's houses were all in the wealthiest district, which is further inland.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way you'll be able to go there before nightfall at the docks. You can
Right.
basically do one or t'other before you'll need to take a long rest. You two really need a long rest because you've been running on no spell slots all day.
Yeah.
None of you got a very good night's sleep. If you guys want to do both, you will be rolling for exhaustion.
Ah.
The
I see.
party needs to decide which one you're going to next.
Well, which one would you like us to go to next? Because you were clearly
I
trying
think-
to hint us towards one.
The crime scenes.
Okay.
That's
I have
my
to be
thought.
impartial to a point. Okay. So you're saying crime scene. Lenny, take a party vote. Easiest way of doing it.
I'm gonna
Either
say
that or we split.
It's an option.
it's a tricky one because I've done my bit, but I know that cloak is still of significance at the same time. That's still evidence.
If I suppose we could leave because I need to be in the docks bit because talking to this lizard woman
True.
and
You need to
Rodolfo,
be
I know
there.
I know what he looks like, where his house
Yeah.
is, so I'd have to go to that.
While that, sorry.
So if we go split party, I have to be in the dock party, which is annoying because I'd really like to go. Yeah.
You also know what your clothes look like, although, to be fair, I think Muli can find the ones that are covered in blood.
I was going to say, there's nothing wrong with going to split party because then we can still rest when we all regroup.
Also true.
Well, what do we think then? If I give Muli a good description of what I was wearing, Jen, tell her, Muli,
It's the ones that are caked in dry blood. I think you'll be
Aria,
fairly squared on
please.
stuff
shall I
like
give
that.
Muli a good description of them?
Please.
Right.
No, yeah.
About ankle length, greenish dress, same one I usually wear, similar to the one I usually wear. I think it had a bit more corsetry on the front. Ankle length. If you go to the front door and ask to see Agatha, ask to see Agatha or her grandma, and tell her that Auntie Aria sent you, then they'll know.
Or I can just show them the search warrant.
I would
But
consider.
that'd be nice as well. Sorry.
Keep going.
I would consider it a personal favour if you would tell them that I'm alright and that I'm worried about them. They're very nice little girls. And their mother's in prison.
Okay. Muli, is that what you want to do? Do you want to go to the crime scenes?
Yes. Yeah, I'll go to the. Yeah. Yes.
So I need to know split party. Who's going to the dock?
I know, I was just going to say, my idea was I go with Aria, we do our bit, you two do the other bit.
Because we're good at talk. We're the good talky talks.
Yes.
You two are good at persuasion. You two are, when it comes down to actually like having investigation and getting the ideas right, you two are great. Because you've got the actual medical knowledge and you've got the insight from your goddess.
We can get information, plus we know about the gossip.
Right. Let's have a look at the time. We still have 50 minutes.
Oh,
we're
okay.
doing alright. So, we're going to do the docks first.
Right. As we're en route now, I'm just explaining to Lenny, might be, because we already know Rodolfo's turned on me a bit, do you think it might be a good idea if I disguise myself a bit, at least until we find him, and then we can always get him somewhere quiet?
It's possible in a way.
Depends if he...
Lenny, could you give me a religion check?
Oh, I've only got a +1 for that, but I'll do it anyway. 12.
A voice, back of your head. You recognise this voice? Obscurity is a bad idea.
Lenny?
Before they go, I remind them to keep an eye out for the Goliath.
Yes.
Lenny dear, you alright?
Sorry.
Yeah, you've seen him just go pale, and for an orc to go pale, he looks the same shade as Muli.
I think it was who I think it is, who I've been following, praying to. He said to me, obscurity is a bad idea. So I would say, be true to ourselves and just go straight in there as who we are.
Alright then.
What's he saying? Okay.
Okay.
I'll go on playing the zealot roll. Okay. You two make your way to the dock, having that conversation. It is getting towards late evening at this time.
Yeah.
Both of you give me a perception check. We'll run one part, if we can,
That's 4.
before the other.
Oh, hang on. What's my plus? 10?
I got a 10.
Oh, you get a 10.
We don't see him. We can start asking around, and also for this lizard lady, Joanna.
Joanna.
You don't see anyone in particular. A few homeless people. You tend to ignore them for the most part. You are looking around trying to spot. You're a bit concerned about that Goliath that Freslin reminded you about.
All right. Well, I know where his lodgings were. I suppose this time of night, unless he's got a job on, he'll be there.
That's a starting
that-
point.
Correct?
Yeah, you know where his lodgings are.
Okay.
Do you head there?
You're
I need
you're
to
saying
know.
that in a frightening voice.
I just need to know what you're doing.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's not sorry, I
go,
just need to...
go towards his lodgings then.
Okay, heading towards his lodgings. You... Before you even get there, you know something's wrong. Looking up, the windows are smashed. The exterior has been ransacked. Heading up to the room, you find the door is off its hinges. Getting inside, you don't need to make an investigation check here. This place hasn't been lived in about 5 days. It looks destroyed.
It looks like nobody's home.
That said, both of you give me a perception check again, with disadvantage due to the rolls that you made previously.
2. So plus 5 is 7.
11.
11. Your natural instincts kick in. Aria, you're in absolute shock looking at the room. You've seen this apartment once before. It was immaculate.
Smashed his piano.
Yep. Lenny, you meanwhile, your instinct's sharp from years of fighting the way you have. You see a figure dart from one room to another as soon as you walk in.
They smashed his piano, Lenny.
Someone's here. Someone's just darted out. Do I see which direction they go, Cal?
They just darted into another room.
Right.
So out of in the direction he pointed, it's into someone's moved into the kitchen.
Someone's in the kitchen. So, despite it's a complete tip, someone's here.
Rodolfo?
Give me a persuasion check at base. So without advantage.
That's a 18.
You hear a noise from the kitchen. Not a noise, not a voice or anything, but sounds like something just smashed, like someone tumbled.
Let's approach slowly. You go in front if you don't mind.
I'll go in front. I'm just going to speak out and say, Rodolfo, it's alright. We just want to... Is everything okay?
You give me a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Yeah, 6.
You all want a drink?
Alright at the moment, bro, thanks.
Yeah, I'm good at the moment, too.
So, as soon as you start speaking, there's a loud intake of breath, and a figure darts out between you two. You may make an opportunity to try and grapple, Lenny.
Yeah.
You're in front.
I'm just going to try and give him a nice hug. Not...
Do you want to make it reckless?
I'll go reckless just to up my chances.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I said, it's only to grapple. I'm not going to try and hurt him. And that's with a strength.
Yep. So it's a strength. It's an attack roll.
Nat 20.
Okay. Make me an athletics check. You may have advantage.
Oh, nice. Plus 7.
Ooh.
Nat 20 again.
Finally!
27.
As
Great.
the figure darts at you, they try to move around you. They're very quick for what they are, covered in this thick burlap sack of a robe, clearly homeless, but quick as your reactions are, bang, in a grip.
Bang.
They try to thrash against you, but you're too strong for them. There's no getting out of this grip.
Hey, calm down. It's okay. No one's trying to hurt you.
They
Calm
just
down.
keep thrashing, and as they keep thrashing, the hood comes back, and you recognise the once beautiful face of Rodolfo. He's been cut across his face, blinding him in his right eye.
Oh,
As he thrashes, you look at him. Hands that once played beautiful piano, broken beyond belief.
The threat I spoke of.
Bruises, wounds across his face. He's barely recognisable, but you still recognise him to an extent. He is thrashing like a wild animal, half mad already.
Just try and get Rodolfo. Calm down. It's me. It's Aria. It's Aria.
Give me a persuasion with disadvantage.
You can see them.
He just keeps thrashing.
There's nothing I can do. Have I got anything that would calm him down?
You have no spell slots at the moment.
Bastard.
he's wounded, isn't he?
Scarred, injured.
A potion's not going to help calming down, is it?
Do you want to try and force something down his throat?
You don't. It's a liquid, right?
Not like that.
It's a liquid, right? But what if you pour the solution over the wounds?
We have said that can work, but all the wounds on him are healed. They're scars. They're not fresh and open. This was done to him a while ago.
Okay, I know this one's a bit bonkers. Could I try playing the flute?
Hey, that's an idea.
Give me a performance check.
That's a good idea.
Performance, that's at least a +9. Come on, work, you bastard. That's a 13, yeah.
There's a moment as he stops thrashing as much, and you see the good eye look at you, blink, and then you see he's had his tongue cut out,
Oh, God!
and he falls unconscious, exhausted. Either of you two want to make a medicine check? Both of you can.
I don't think I've got it, but I'll roll it.
I'll try. 15.
Yeah, 3.
He is severely exhausted. Most likely, if you had not found him today, he would have died during the night. You need to get him to a hospital.
Then we need to get him back.
Or to one of us.
Hospital.
We need to get him to
You
somewhere.
full cleric.
He needs proper medical
That doesn't
attention.
really happen.
I mean, look,
Doesn't work.
the scars. I mean, his fingers as well.
I don't want. Oh, God, his poor hands.
I know. I don't. It's not something I want you to see, but yeah, I can carry him.
He's
We'll try and get him
unconscious now. He's
Yeah, I'm just going to hoist him up, fireman carry, and just say, right, let's find the nearest place quickly, see if
Yes.
anyone can help.
I don't care about this lizard woman. I will sort that tomorrow. Let's get him to a hospital now.
both of you give me investigation, Aria with disadvantage, or perception, whichever's higher. But Aria disadvantage.
Perception.
Oh, that's not bad either way. What was it? Investigation or perception?
Perception.
19.
That's 17 plus 5 is
22.
22. Yeah.
22,
19.
19. It doesn't take either of you long to find a ship's doctor.
Oh.
Quite a good doctor in the region. The docks here are very well thought of, so the doctors here aren't like doctors on a ship.
Not sawbones.
No.
The actual doctors.
In which case, I'm holding up my.
The second you show your symbol, you're let straight in.
Please, this man needs help. He's
Come on,
very
come on,
badly hurt.
Thank you.
There's a bed at the back.
There you
And
go.
the doctor asks the two of you to step out for a moment while he... About 5, 10, 15 minutes go by. When the doctor comes out, you can see it's not a pleasant sight. Rodolfo is on the bed, the burlap sack he was wearing removed. You can see chunks of skin shaved off. This is torture of the worst form. The doctor approaches. I've not seen wounds like this since I was on the mainland, and that was 3 sorcerers all casting meteor shower. Where did you find this man?
shower?
We found him in what was his flat. I used
Who is he?
Rodolfo. I don't know his last name, I'm afraid.
I know him. I know him. He'd come by from time to time. Do you know what happened to him?
We just found him like that. He was in a bit of a frenzy, so we managed to get a hold of him, and then he.
I can look after him. I can get him to a point where he's a bit more physically stable, and then I will move him somewhere where we can start caring for the wounds to his mind. This is extensive.
Even with us half-orcs, we may be known as barbarians, but
This isn't barbaric warfare.
That's not barbaric.
This is what I mean. This is on a different level. This isn't what we do. This
is calculated.
Someone really wanted to hurt him, and can you tell how long ago this was done to him?
About 10 days. You've been off this island for 14 days.
10 days. Someone's done this to him. Someone has done this to him. Either he was planning on redacting that statement or to get that statement out of him.
He gave a statement.
He can't have. Wait.
Well, if he gave the statement before... Give me an intelligence check, actually.
Oh, come on, you know that's not one of mine. Oh, 17! No.
Oh!
It was dated wrong.
It was dated 10 days ago.
Someone did this to him to get that statement out of him, Lenny.
You already have a document stating that.
We have his statement.
I will write something up right now to say that any statement that he gave in any time 10 days ago or before that, this is...
inadmissible.
It's taken by torture. That is what this is. This is torture.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor.
I'm going to press a platinum piece into his palm. I know, doctors, you don't, but please.
He pulls out his own necklace, and it's a Volcar. Thank you for the offering. I will hand it to the cleric.
Could I see him? I know he's probably in no state, but...
He's fast asleep at the moment. He must rest.
I pull out a platinum piece and say, just in the good name of Bahamut, please give this to the cleric or...
Thank you. And you see a small, almost like tip jar with the symbol of the 3 gods, the 3 ocean gods.
When he comes to, if he's in any kind of state where he can understand what you're saying, please tell him Aria was here and that... Please tell him she's so sorry.
Of course.
If he needs anything to contact me.
Of course. I'll see what kind of condition he is in once the wounds of his body are seen to. Wounds like this, though, it would take a high cleric to cure this, and that's just the physical.
Okay. Alright then.
I'll send you a letter when he's more awake. Where are you staying?
I don't actually know at the minute.
Quincy's.
Quincy's. The
flying
airship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not a problem. I'll see you.
Giggling griffin.
The Happy Griffin.
It's very happy at the minute, that's why it's giggling.
Aria'Hiri. Send it to Aria'Hiri.
Of course.
Thank you. Just walk off.
I'm just going to sort of console Ara on the way. I've just got my hand rolled around her shoulder, just trying to comfort her.
He smashed his hands. His face.
It's just...
That beautiful tongue.
It's... The fact is, meteor showers, and I don't think he broke his fingers by himself. That was part of the torture. Someone's got it out for him. I think that this coincides with whatever's happening back there. Someone's been changing details.
Someone's tortured him to get him to say whatever they wanted him to say.
Exactly.
Then they took away his livelihood. He was a courtesan like me. His face and his hands were...
They took away everything that he loved. and taking away especially his love for music, and breaking his fingers like that, not to be able to play piano again.
Let's go find this lizard person and let's destroy whoever did this to him. Who hates me this much?
Someone sees you as a threat, but that makes you powerful. But we'll get to the bottom of this.
Give me investigation checks, and we will come back to you in just a moment.
Investigation at 0. Yeah, 6.
It's going to take you a while to find her.
That's fine.
You two, heading out of the wealthy district into the very wealthy district. These houses are... Each estate is probably made of about 3 mansions here.
Wipe your feet on your way in.
Onto the street, yeah. Heading in, you look around. Aria gave you good directions for the 2 houses to look for. And to be honest, it wouldn't have taken you much anyway. This is the kind of place where buildings don't have numbers, they have names. And you can see the Bork and the Trainer houses right there.
Which one first? Trainer for the crime scene or Bork for the dress?
Bork.
Bork.
Okay.
Bork it is.
You head over to the Bork estate. Beautiful, fantastic.
Head on swivel.
Both of you give me perception checks.
13.
13.
8.
You're looking in every direction, and you're almost looking too much. You can't really take anything in. You're
I'm
glancing.
overscanning.
Yeah. Muli, heading up to the Bork estate, you notice a few guards watching you. Not giving you any grief, just you two clearly aren't the kind that's seen around this area. Heading into the Bork estate, you head up to the front door. No one stops you.
There goes the neighbourhood.
Guard at the gate, or guard at the door, or...
No guard at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of minutes pass, and the door is opened by a girl. Looking at her, you'd say human, but a couple of orc traits give her away.
Quarter orc.
Yeah. Now, orc traits, difficult to get out of the blood, to be honest. I do have names. I know you do as well, don't you, love? This is Agatha, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Hello, can I help you? It's a bit late.
Agatha, is it?
Yes.
Sorry for the lateness of our call. We're here on behalf of Auntie Aria. We're friends of hers. We've spoken to your mother and brother. They're as well as can be expected. But Auntie Aria has asked us to come here to see if we can find some things that may have been left behind.
It may help your mother.
Both of you clock a very intelligent look in this girl's eyes. She looks around, spots the guards and goes, "If you just wait a moment, I will get you everything I can.
Thank you.
If you'd like to go to the back door, that's all right."
I'm used to that in a place like this.
Heading around the back door,
Best to be.
she nods, closes the door. You hear 3 latches. Heading around the back, you meet her very quickly, and she almost like runs out to talk to you. It's like, "Everyone's all right? Everything's being taken care of?"
We are doing very well.
As well as can be expected.
Of course. As for the things Auntie Aria left, there was a dress and a cloak, and when the day after she left, I didn't tell Mother to worry her, but I already took care of things on my end as much as I could. When we went down, the maidservant had added them to the furnace.
Understandable.
There are no clothes here of Auntie Aria.
Okay.
I am sorry.
No, that's fine. We
Right.
just needed to cover that. Thank you. And be assured,
Yeah.
we are making strong progress. Your mother and brother will be home to you soon.
Thank you. Muli, do you have anything you want to say to her?
Is there anything left at all that you think may help us?
I'm sorry, no. The clothes... I mean, I can tell you now, the clothes... Auntie Aria said that they were covered in blood, but there was no blood on them.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm the one who brought her new clothes out and one of Father's swords, and I took the clothes off her, dropped them in the linen room in a bit of a hidden place in case we might need them, and just... there was no blood on them. She kept saying she was covered in blood, but there was no blood.
That helps. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Does that... So...
As we
So
will.
what? Yeah. Sorry, I'm not just standing at the door.
Yeah.
I'm not just standing there.
What are you thinking, Emma?
An illusion,
Yeah.
a glamour.
Yes.
I thought she was covered in blood.
I think she was hysterical, but she wasn't hysterical enough to smash a window. So
No.
there's something external was at work there.
Someone cast something on her that made her think she was drenched. And given the situation, you wouldn't be surprised to be drenched. So, if the clothes were clean, pity we haven't got them because that's another nail in the lid. But, especially you two, you need to be on point with the fact that there is an illusionist in the mix. Maybe the dream demons that the
That's
have in their heads. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I can only cast what the goddess allows. I don't understand your arcane to that degree. But it just seems to me, from what she said and what we've just heard, something was playing with her head.
Would I know if oh god, that species
Kalashtar.
the Kalashtar, or if their domain would include illusory magic.
Give me an Arcana roll.
12.
Kalashtar, from what you understand, don't really have much in the way of magic themselves. They are resistant to certain forms of magic due to the duality of their mindset. But as you're mulling questions over and over in your mind, that same voice creeps into the back of your mind. Calm, curious, clinical to an extent. Not the female voice that you've become slightly accustomed to. Something you've heard a few times. The sound of gears moving, mechanical noises. Something not alive, but has never been alive, creeps into your mind with simple words. Dreams, child. The Kalashtar use dreams. But when you have a particular dream essence, it leaks. And when something leaks, it has to find a bowl to catch it in. If, of course, you are having trouble deciphering that, you are welcome to make a insight check, and I will word it in a more helpful way.
Please, brain's not working at the minute. How?
It's a complex phrasing. That character, that one.
I like
was-
that one.
That's a fun one.
Bigger.
Love it.
18.
18. My version. Something
Oh, yeah.
different.
D&D.
So,
DDD. Oh shit.
so the phrasing, as you understand it, breaking it down section by section, you realise that each word the voice said was almost timed with a different mechanical clockwork noise. And as you think on those noises, it starts to link up a bit easier. The bowl in reference was Aria. The leak.
Sorry, I should be passing notes while you're in the middle of something.
It's alright, don't worry, I'll read that in just a moment, yeah? Sorry. So, you... The
What was Aria?
bowl in this situation is Aria, and the leaking of dreams. You've read about such things before, particularly potent and powerful dreams, or, for want of a better word, emotions, leeching off of someone feeling it so emphatically and reaching someone who is a more willing receptacle, empathic, if you will, emotional in their own right.
That's alright.
In this regard, you know that Rachel was covered in blood and was, at that point, very emotionally distraught to a very extreme level. If the dream spirit in her mind was running wild with her own spirit, it is reasonable to imagine that that emotional spectrum could infect someone already in an emotional state themselves. Thank you.
Rachel.
What
It
about?
was Rachel. That's why she thinks.
That's right. Sorry, Muli. Muli and Freslin, can you also make me an intelligence check? Both of you, are Muli base, Freslin advantage. This is something else.
9.
9,
19.
19. You remember a few things as... Actually, Muli, you speak first, and then I will add this on when this pops into your mind.
Okay. What?
So the information that I gave you in regard...
Oh right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
The leak,
Sorry. I thought this was going to be new.
Sort of.
Yes. It was Rachel. The Kalashtar, they leak emotionally. She was covered in blood, wasn't she? She was and distressed, and so was Aria because she's seen that, and she saw blood on her clothes. She felt blood because that's what was there.
The projection.
Yes,
Projection.
Rachel was emotionally projecting, consciously or not. I'm not sure, but
As Muli starts to speak, you remember a few things. Of the party, you know the party members a lot better than an individual of the rest of the party knows themselves, due to having fed them and sat up guard, and you are naturally a person who watches and is a bit of a protector in your own right.
And I've laid on hands to heal all of them, so I've
You
gained.
know them in a very emotive way, and as long as you have known Aria, she has had a very severe aversion to blood on her.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if that was before you knew her, or if that's something new.
But it's
That-
probably because of this.
A voice leaks into your mind at this thought. Dreams are subconscious, child. If a thought comes into a subconscious mindset and locks,
Yes, then it becomes part of the foundation of the conscious.
exactly.
This is probably this projection. I don't know, but I just feel this is part of why Arya has that aversion to having blood on her. After every battle, she immediately cleans. She can't be blood-stained. I think this went into her core at that point, and that's what's caused the situation we see. So, yes, I think you're right. Rachel put that on her. And that's why she ran and hid, because she thought she was drenched, even though she wasn't. It was projected onto her. And that has created that fracture in her spirit, in her character, that makes her the way we see her in that context. Shall we check the other crime scene and then get back? Because, to be honest, a warm meal and a warmer bed is right up.
I want to check out this crime. I need to check out this crime scene. We keep getting more pieces to this puzzle, and they're only just starting to fit together.
The more pieces we find, the more they'll fit together, I believe. We've done so much so far.
So, we obviously have a hard time finish. We'll get through this little bit, and then we'll wrap up, and the next session, we continue. And I can also say you're all doing really well.
And next session, I'm hopefully going to start using Freslin's voice.
Fun. I look forward to
I've
this.
been working on a characteristic for his voice, because I've been talking as me, and it's been fine, but
You want a voice?
you've got more into character with your voices, and I want to try and bring
I've got
that
to
in.
say,
So
doing a voice definitely helps.
if next week I'm talking weird, it's not just me being a dick. I'm actually trying to get into Freslin.
Look, if no one makes fun of me for the number of voices I pull to the table...
You pull them well.
Oh, thank you. Right.
Well, you didn't take the piss out of me for playing a 6-foot black Rasta.
True. Give you that. Anyway,
Last week.
heading into the trainer estate, you're initially stopped by the guards, but showing the warrant, you're just let straight through. No questions asked. Looking around, the house is empty at this time. One of the guards mentions that the staff, due to the situation, have been moved to a different estate, coming here only during the day to clean and prepare and keep the building and grounds maintained to a certain level while the investigation is underway.
And the children?
The young boy has been taken in at the main family estate, currently under the care of his uncle.
At least he's with family.
You are led up to the room by the guards, making sure you go nowhere else.
Outside.
You go around the outside. Okay, you are allowed around the outside. A guard is always with you here.
You can carry the torch. It's getting dark.
He doesn't mind. Just doing his job at this point. Muli, you are led into the ground floor where the dual murder happened. Opening the door, you see that the room is untouched. As much as possible for investigations. Okay, can both of you give me investigation? Freslin at base, Muli at advantage.
6.
12.
Okay. Outside, you can see where the smashed window is. Looking around, you can't really see. It's too dark, the torch isn't quite in the right place. You keep asking to move it and
Take it off him.
even trying. It's difficult to see. It's been so long at this point, who knows what's happened. You can see where Arya's shoe has landed. Clearly, I mean, there's a female shoe print there, so presumptuously it is most likely Arya's. But other than that, not a lot else. Muli, inside the room, looking around, you make your assessment and you can see exactly how things occurred. The blood splatters are in the correct place for both Arya's story and the guard's story if you swap where the bodies were found. If James Traynor was the first one to die, as you now know, he died by his desk. If Arya killed Rachel, that doesn't line up anymore. You know that Arya didn't kill her. There's also not enough blood for a single stab wound by the desk. There's too much blood. Far too much.
And too spread out, it'd be in one place.
Everywhere. Looking around the room, you can see bloodstains not just on the floor and on the desk, but on the ceiling and the walls. And this is a huge room.
It's a ripper. So
yeah. The second bloodstain, the one that from your investigation you put together as most likely being Rachel's bloodstain. It's one simple pool. Massive amount of blood. Again, far more than any stab wound. Even a stab wound to the heart wouldn't enact this much blood. If it was a stab wound to the throat, it would probably be this much blood, but the blood would be in a single stream, not in this spreading pool. And as
femoral artery would hit the floor, splashed and spread, but it'd still be splatter.
Exactly. This is just a pool of a bloodstain.
Slow bleed from disembowelment.
Yeah. And looking around the room, you can actually see where Arya's footsteps in those shoes that you have now examined quite extensively go. They go to the first blood pool. They walk past the second. They turn around, go to the door, and then in almost a dead run, go to the window. You can see where...
Sorry, that bit froze for a moment there.
Oh, which bit did you last hear?
I think turned.
Yeah, so turned back to the door, then dead run. The strides are so much further. You can see every step that she made on the way out. You can see where she must have grabbed the cloak from, as she said, and you can see where she would have hit the window. It wouldn't take a genius to realise where both of these corpses died if Arya is telling the truth, which, at this point, there's more evidence for the three of you to realise that, yes, she is telling the truth. Wait, fuck! Advantage on your investigation, you've got Monica.
Is Monica with me?
Yeah, she's always with you.
I thought we left her at the ship.
Nope.
So do you want me to roll both again?
Just roll one.
Be nice, you bastard. 11.
11. Right, I will get to that in a moment. Thank you very much. Sorry, you've all been rolling so well I've not had to add Monica's bonus.
No, I thought we'd left it behind because, wandering around the streets with a dragon is a bit sketchy. Like, I'm not wearing my armour, I've just got my full.
Yeah, no, she's there. So, Muli.
Can't make her not be there.
Inside where you get to the window, you can see where the smashed window is, and you can actually see Freslin outside as well. And looking at the window, this window was closed when it was smashed out. No, sorry, incorrect there. Smashed in. It was smashed from the outside in. There is glass near where you're standing, but none of that glass. And both of you looking at this glass now and looking at that, there is no blood on those glass shards. That was done after Arya.
That was premeditated.
Exactly. And it was done after the fact.
Someone broke into this house. Frozen again. No, you haven't. Okay.
Oh.
Arya locked the door, climbed out the window, shut it. Someone came in, smashed the window, took the knife, and then bribed it to be said as a single rapier wound.
And more to the point, they smashed the window with their hand covered. There's no blood.
Sword pommel or buckler. Yeah, they put the window through with something.
This was planned. This was not in a heat of the moment.
Now, is it one big window or is it kind of panels?
It's a slide window.
Yeah, so the actual window that's been broken, is it one big panel?
One big panel, and it's just smashed
It's been
inwards.
stoked in. Right, okay. Doesn't help, but if it was small panels and it's literally just the one by the lock, you know that that's a B&E job.
Yeah. Okay. We will call that there. Everyone returns to Quincy's Tavern, has a meal, a sleep, a rest. You all have sleepless nights before the following
mulling
morning.
over what's been going on.
Mulling over everything. You, Aria and Muli, you two sleep with no dreams because you are so tired from what has happened. Not only were you rudely awoken in the middle of the night, you were also drained of all your magic. That said, one thing that Aria and Lenny did find out, you have been able to arrange a meeting with Johanna for the morning at Quincy's Tavern. And that is where we'll come back in next session.
Excellent.
Just need a name from her. That's
Yep.
I think that's the last piece of the puzzle we need.
get the name of the High
Get the
Inquisitor.
name of the High Inquisitor and tell them there's a corrupt Inquisitor here, we need help.
I need to do it very carefully because sending only lets me send, I think it's 25 words.
25 words. That said, it is it a level 3 spell?
Yes,
So you can do it twice per day.
twice a day. So 25
So
words.
worst case scenario, you can send 2 messages.
Yeah.
25 words.
Gotta say, bro, that was brilliant.
Mm.
That was a
Very,
brilliant
very interesting.
session.
I like CSI D&D.
Oh, did,
None of us swung a blade, none of us... Bit like some of the sessions we've had where
yeah.
I've written this this scenario and I think, we'll do this tonight. And it's taken 4 weeks. It's taken 4 sessions because we've got into the character. Now, Muli's absolutely smashed the doors off
Oh
it.
god,
Yeah.
some of those checks.
Just-
Jesus.
And the way you went about that coroner...
Yeah.
Well, they were all dead. That's about all you got right. It's like, oh shit, someone's about to get moolied.
There are a fair few scenes that were played out there that are going in my next best role playing at my table video.
Nice.
At least 2 from Muli, a good
You
3
just
from
owned
Aria,
it.
several, just everyone at the table. You had at least 2 scenes where, oh my god, all of you fantastic.
I got to ask, how have we reduced that DC now then? With all the evidence we've got? How are we
You
doing?
have reduced it in 1 day's work with some amazing rolls from 65 to 34.
Nearly halved it.
Yeah.
So we've halved it in 1 day and we've got another 2 days.
The lowest you can bring it down to is 18.
So once we've talked to this High Inquisitor and possibly gotten him off the case altogether, which I hope would bring it down again, maybe get some good character. I'm trying to think what else we've got to disprove at this point, other than get evidence that evidence that the shitbag.
Paula is
Paula.
actually Cruella fucking de Vil.
Get evidence that she's bribing people.
Yep.
Well, I mean, surely the signed notice from the witnesses saying that they were bribed by her is evidence.
True enough.
Yeah, because
Now they might try and quash the statements of the servants in their isolation, but the coroner, the neighbours in a rich neighbourhood, you put them 2 forward first and then mention the servants. You know, you mention the servants first, it's just like, you've bribed them to say what you want.
Yeah.
But once we mention the others first, then we mention the servants.
Oh, yes.
It's like, there is no way we
I
could
heard-
afford to bribe all these people.
well, it started off a bit smashed before I opened the box and I had to help myself, but if anyone wants a piece of dragon egg...
Oh, thanks, man. I have about
Oh, I want chocolate.
Sorry, Muli.
We'll email it to you.
We've got 5 minutes to get ready for this interview. Have you?
I've got 35 minutes before the interview starts. But not this time. Which I'm really glad of. That was a fantastic session.
That was really good.
It was. I think sometimes, in a way, being against the clock, it cuts the, oh, did you see this on telly, or have you heard about that? We just all get stuck in and focus on it.
It is.